Welcome to the Omaha Baseball Village, where Hour 1 is presented by Union Bank and Trust. No matter where life takes you, you can always feel good about banking with UBT, member FDIC. And on a day like today, important to remember to hydrate. In the 1620 The Zone hydration sponsor is Coke Zero Sugar. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Take a taste. We could have a national champion crowned today in Omaha, Nebraska. We will certainly talk about that. As we roll on, an NBA champion will be crowned tonight. We will certainly talk about that. But right now, we are so excited to have the mayor of Omaha, John Ewing, join us as we kick off this Sunday show here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Mayor Ewing, thank you so much. How are you today?
I'm fantastic, and thank you guys for having me. This is quite an honor to be part of the World Series at this level and to be on your show today.
Well, we very much appreciate you joining us. You have been on the job for just a couple of weeks, and so what a great way to start.
Yes.
Being mayor of Omaha. Has the first College World Series for you been in this new role for yourself?
It has been absolutely amazing. I've actually always attended the College World Series, but it's usually been 2 or 3 games, and then you're out in the heat, you're looking for a parking spot, and now I've got a parking spot right outside the door.
Yeah.
And you get to go into the suites and have a great time meeting people from the NCAA, the College World Series team, Mecca, and all of those folks, as well as for meeting the fans from all over the country, and had a lot of fun, especially with some LSU fans, taking pictures and everything with them. So been great.
You deserve the perks coming out here for so long and being in the heat, and now you're enjoying the fruits of your labor here. But I have to ask you, the day you got elected, the day of the election, you woke up and you were John Ewing, right? Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the night, we put that big patch on your polo. You became Mayor John Ewing, right? How is that first sleep for you when you go to bed and then you wake up in the morning and you're not John Ewing like you were 24 hours ago? You're Mayor John Ewing.
It was absolutely amazing. We had worked extremely hard during the campaign to win the election, and then for that to actually happen was just absolutely fantastic. And you go to bed thinking, wow, we did it. And I have one of the greatest opportunities of my lifetime. I was born and raised here in Omaha, and so have always been committed to Omaha, been in public service my entire adult life. And this is a really, really great way to kind of put the cherry on top.
Mayor John Ewing joining us. Mayor Ewing, Matt said it off the air to you earlier, maybe relating things to sports in terms of your new role. And so I will do the same thing. One of the things that we'll often talk about with athletes, especially inside of this state, is if they are native Nebraskans, maybe a native Omahan playing at Creighton, they're going to have a little bit more appreciation, a little bit more love for the program, for the university, whatever it is. I wonder if you feel that same way, given, as you just mentioned, you grew up on the north side of Omaha, you've lived here. I mean, you have a stake in this city that you know, not a lot of people in your position are always going to have.
Absolutely. I can't say that the previous mayors didn't have a great stake in Omaha, didn't love Omaha. Won't say that. But I will tell you, I absolutely love Omaha, Nebraska, and I want to be a great ambassador for the city. I want to be a great leader, and I just want people across the country to know we're always open, we're welcoming, we're open for business. Please come and visit us and check us out and see if you want to stay.
So we all have a mutual friend here, Mr. Michael Severe, and I was talking to Michael, and I had mentioned in passing that we were going to be talking to you, and so he told me something interesting about you that I think is really important to get out there. You love fitness. You like to lift. You love to stay active. How important is that for you to continue to, have the things that you enjoy to keep your sanity in a job that, can really test it at times?
Absolutely. I have been committed to fitness all my life and been able to continue it. And even as an example, during the campaign, it is absolutely grueling. You're doing 4 or 5 different events a day. You're doing 3 or 4 interviews a day. And if I didn't have a certain level of fitness, it would have been absolutely exhausting. So from that perspective, it was very helpful. from the standpoint of being mayor, there's a lot of 14-hour days and there's just nonstop. Sure. And I got to say this for my guys who provide security, but one of them actually said to me yesterday, he said, you know, sometimes we have to break up the shifts because John just has so much energy. We can't keep up with him. So I think that's a testament to what being physically fit can do for you in terms of energy. I sleep great every night after those 14-hour days. Then I get up every day and get my workout in, and I just feel like it helps me have the energy to serve the people of this community.
Mayor John Ewing joining us right now here on this special edition of the Connor Happer Show, live from the Omaha Baseball Village at the 2025 Men's College World Series. Speaking of the College World Series, we have talked over the years about this event, the importance of it, of course, to Omaha, and it's a precarious time in college athletics right now as various entities, conferences, people in charge of them. I think there's some power grabbing going on. I wonder, as you look at the future of this event, as we see those shifts of power, the importance of making sure that this event is here and that we don't see any other cities perhaps popping up and trying to grab this away from us.
Sure. I believe there's always going to be cities who want to have the College World Series there. Yeah. I think the thing we have to look at as a city is that we're going to compete and make sure we are doing the very best we can to make this a welcoming environment for the fans. We're going to make sure this is a welcoming environment for the NCAA and then the MECA people, the CWS people in the mayor's office, and all of the other leaders in Omaha. We're going to do a great job of making this an amazing experience. This is the 19th straight year that we've had over 300,000 fans attend the College World Series. And so one of the things I've been doing is talking to the NCAA since I took office about, hey, this is the 75th year in Omaha. Let's get another 75 years.
Absolutely.
But I don't believe there's a greater experience for fans in the United States than the College World Series and the road to Omaha. This truly is the greatest show on dirt, and we're going to keep it that way. We're going to continue to work to improve the fan experience, improve the bottom line for the NCAA and the city of Omaha, and continue to have great partnerships. And I believe we can keep this here for the foreseeable future, and we're going to start looking at extensions as soon as they're ready to talk about it. Awesome. We are going to compete for this event. This is the city of Omaha's signature event, and we absolutely love having the College World Series here.
You know, the swim trials used to be here, and we've had some NCAA tournament games, whether it be the first round, but I know a lot of people loved it when the Elite Eight was here as well. Is there anything that you're looking for in terms of more events to bring to this city? And do you think there's anything maybe this city needs to do in terms of infrastructure or support in order to get more events here?
Well, one of the things we're going to always do is we're going to always look at trying to get as many of those sporting events as we can here in Omaha. We are a sports town. We love our Creighton Blue Jays, our University of Nebraska at Omaha Mavericks, our Nebraska Cornhuskers. But we love having those national and international events here as well. And Omahans are great sports fans, and we support those events when they come here. And we sell out the place, and that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to look at what we need to do from an infrastructure process, whether that's additional hotel rooms. We're already in the process of expanding the CHI Convention Center, and we've done some expansion to the Hilton Hotel. So we're going to continue to do those things and continue to compete because we want people to come here and see the great life that Omaha, Nebraska has to offer.
Mayor John Ewing, fresh on the job, joining us here at the Omaha Baseball Village as his first College World Series in a new role comes to a close, perhaps today, and if not today, it will happen tomorrow. Mayor Ewing, thank you so much for joining us as we kick off the show.
Mayor.
Thank you for having me.
Very much appreciated.
Thank
you so much.
And you guys have a great day, and thank you for being here in Omaha.
Absolutely. This show today powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. And special thanks to KRT Athletic Muscle Cream, providing increased performance to people who suffer from muscle fatigue and cramps, and by Cross-Train Brewing, Nebraska fresh and always evolving. We will get this show rocking and rolling as we return. Josh Peterson and Matt McMaster here. We got Josh Otson. We have Jake Janicek back in our 1620 The Zone studios. Game 2 of the championship series between Coastal Carolina and LSU. First pitch just about 3 hours away. So much more to come. We'll set it all up when we return here on 1620 The Zone. Welcome back to the Omaha Baseball Village, where this hour number 1, is presented by Union Bank and Trust. No matter where life takes you, you can always feel good about banking with UBT, member FDIC. And as we roll on throughout this special edition of the Connor Happer Show, a reminder that the special edition Zone Hotline is powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. We got a text already from Charlie. We should have read this when Mayor Ewing was over.
Oh, no.
Did you guys ever get to the dramatic reenactment of Tommy Boy? That was one of the ideas that we had.
In a little coat.
There we go. We did it. We did it. Shout out to us. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Imagine this is your car, and you got your family in there. And all of a sudden, you're running up the hill, and you go, "Meh," and it falls off, and it's burning, it's whatever, and then you're there you go. My dramatic reenactment.
Well, you messed up some of the lines, but I thought that was okay. That was okay. How are you?
Everybody goes to school for 7 years.
There you go.
They're called doctors.
I went to school for 5.5 for my broadcasting degree. It took me a little bit.
Are you stupid?
Yeah. Wow, Matt. Yes, the answer is yes.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
The issue was I needed to take more. This is the dumbest thing. Foreign language credit. I needed my 4 years of foreign language credit.
Why?
I don't know. That's a great question. Why did I need that as a broadcaster? So I took 4 years of German.
They made me get a double.
1, 2, 3.
They made
4 semesters.
They made me get a double major. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't need a double major.
Yeah.
Right.
What did you do? Broadcasting and what?
And sports media communications.
Oh, see, that's cool. We didn't have that when I was
at
Lincoln.
Yeah, but like it's not as. See, but here's a problem with that program.
Yeah.
A lot of people read it as like, oh, sports. I'm going to major in sports, but they don't actually know like what. It's not sports. It's about comms. Like it's learning how to be an SID and learning how to like communicate with other people and other organizations. Brian Petrata over at the College of Journalism does an incredible job with that program. And shout out to the SIDs of Seamus McKnight and Keith Mann and all those people over there who come over and they talk to us and they help out that program and whatnot. And the University of Nebraska does an incredible job of having students come into the fold and work in that athletic department, because I know a lot of students who are now in that world. Yeah. Regardless, all of that to say, you don't need a double major. Right?
Okay.
You're just paying more money for credits. Okay?
Oh, well,
let's get one major, kids. That's Matt McMaster's tip of the day.
Yeah,
you just need one major.
And then go and work whatever job you want to do. Maybe that's being a mayor someday, or maybe it's being a Yahoo like us and talking on the radio.
That was an incredible moment when I asked Mayor a question, and Josh peeked his head over and goes, good question.
Wow, what question was that?
It was my fitness question.
The fitness, well, that's a Michael Severe question.
Hey, I use my sources.
You did.
In order to look at me being a capital J journalist.
Yep, always important.
Understanding, who my product is going to be, who my subject is going to be, learning
who your
more.
product is
going to be.
I
said the wrong word. I say the wrong word too often.
You definitely did, yeah.
Who my subject is going to be and learning about that subject.
Well, welcome into perhaps the last show from the Omaha Baseball Village of the 2025 season, or it could be the penultimate show, which makes for an interesting end, because at the end of the College World Series, Matt, I always like to thank everyone who did a great job for us. The Booth Boys, as we're going to call them, from the first round, before the championship,
boys.
The Johns, the Garys, the Farrens, the Happers, the Grimms.
Sure.
They always are thanking each other. Oh, thank you. Oh, my gosh, thank you. What about us? What about Josh?
Yeah.
Josh didn't get thanked.
He doesn't get enough thank yous.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. Look at that. Thank you for your service. And so at the end of today's show, just in case, we'll thank everybody. It's like an in memoriam, but we're not dead.
That's got to be tough at the Oscars when they do the in memoriam.
Yeah.
And just like, there's a good stretch in that in memoriam where nobody really gives a damn.
Oh, wow. You're saying, that guy was a second grip. Like, he's not that big of a deal?
No. Where
his family cared.
Well, that's my problem, right? Can you, the family is sitting there and they're torn up to shreds because their loved one is gone. They run the in memoriam, here we go, in memoriam to this set design guy.
What if that's what they did? Here you go.
The set design guy is right there. And then right after the set design guy that nobody gave a damn about, it's Terry Fisher, right? And then everybody starts clapping.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, my God.
Oh, man, it's Bob who color corrected the movies, and then it's James Earl Jones.
Exactly. And everybody is like, oh, my God, James. Yeah. Right? That's going to be a little –
it's got to be tough.
It's got to be a little tough.
Should they do an in memoriam? Should they do an in memoriam for, a lesser – the lesser people and then the big dogs?
Here's what I would say. if you are an A or B or C list actor where you would get applause.
Yeah.
Let's just leave you for another segment of the show.
Yeah.
Let's do the first in memoriam for everybody equally, who's a part of the, positions you wouldn't know as well. And then let's do a whole other segment with
the famous people.
Famous 5, 6, 7. Seriously, because
that's not a bad idea.
Because I do feel bad when some of these people who we don't really know, they get tied in, and it's
awkward.
They passed away, and it's a little awkward.
It's a little
just do 2
uncomfortable.
segments.
Do you think as a family you would dread for 6 months they're gonna stick Uncle Joe next to James Earl Jones?
Yes. It's not going to be a good look.
I would just dread it.
Me too.
Well, the other thing they used to do, Josh, and you'll know this as a fan of movies, during the Oscars, they wouldn't lower the volume of the crowd, and so some people would get these huge James Earl Jones, and then they show Bob, and it's like,
Well, here's another thing too. Do they treat it like a graduation? Do they tell you, hey, please leave your applause for the end of it because we don't want everybody? But then, you have the families. That would be awkward too if you just hear the 6 people woo Bob, the production design guy.
It's like
his in memoriam,
it's like a graduation. That'd be pretty funny. Yeah, Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
That would be pretty funny. How did we get on this subject?
It's Matt McMaster.
It's the last show. We might be dying.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We're thanking people. That's what it was. Thank you, Josh. We're thanking people. So we'll thank people at the.
We should do our thank yous like Jimmy Fallon thank you notes.
Don't know that reference because Jimmy Allen sucks.
No, Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon. What did I say? Jimmy Allen?
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon. I like Jimmy Allen.
I do too.
Jimmy Allen was DMing me over the weekend. Yeah, I like Jimmy Allen. Jimmy Fallon is who I don't like.
Why don't you like Jimmy Fallon? I feel like you would love Jimmy Fallon.
Try hard, loser, dork.
He was great in Fever Pitch, though.
Wow, he was great in Fever Pitch.
He was great.
I liked him in SNL.
You should do the rewatchables with or what do you do? The movie club with Fever Pitch.
Kent.
Yes.
All right, now I'm gonna check real fast to see if it's streaming. You know what I watched last night?
That would be a great one because I feel like Mayor. That'd be a great one because what?
See you, Mayor.
He's walking away. He was saying goodbye
I
to
just love
us.
to see you, Mayor.
See you,
Anyway,
Mayor.
what were you saying? Sorry.
I was saying with Jimmy Fallon, or with John Bishop.
Yeah.
I feel like John Bishop would absolutely bury Jimmy Fallon in Fever Pitch.
Oh,
and
he
make
definitely
fun
would.
of him to a 10th degree.
I liked it when I was a 17, 16-year-old. I don't think I'd like that movie now. Though I did like the Tears for Fears song that played at the end when Drew Barrymore's riding
I still say to this guy, I go, that ain't Yankee dancing. That's devil rake dancing.
Nice.
I need some Yankee dance.
I don't remember that reference, I'll be honest.
Because it's when they're trying to – they have the draft for the season tickets, and they're trying to see what friend goes to what game.
Yeah.
And they're trying to be like, I want a Yankee game. I want this game. And they're like, if you're going to go to a Yankee game, I need to see some dance.
Okay, I remember that now. I watched Pretty Woman for the first time last night. Yeah, we were scrolling. So my wife, she went upstairs to make popcorn. And so I went to Paramount Plus, and Arrival was on there. I was like, I'm going to watch Arrival.
You had been talking about this week.
Yes. And she came down, and she's like, what are you watching? And I said, Arrival. And she goes, that's too heavy for me right now. And I
Pretty
said,
heavy.
Okay, what do you want to watch? She says, I don't know. Let's scroll. And so I opened up the app that will soon be known again as HBO Max. I cannot wait for it to call it HBO Max again.
Is that their bit?
What?
We're just going
to change our name because it's actually a great marketing strategy. If they're like, we are going to hilariously change our name over and over again. Remind people
talking about
exactly.
Yeah.
We are talking about them. And so I opened it up.
Is a great bit.
And so I said comedy, and she said yeah. And so I scroll down to comedy, and I just start going through them. Doop 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 doop. And she goes, "Whoa, Pretty Woman!" And I said, "Do you want to watch Pretty Woman?" And she said, "Yeah."
I would think that after going,
yeah.
"Whoa,
yeah.
Pretty
I
Woman."
just want to make sure. And
do you want to watch Pretty Woman?
I've never seen it before. What a great movie.
Okay.
Very, very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Great movie.
Never seen it.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Is it Swayze in that? Patrick Swayze?
No, it's Richard Gere.
Okay.
Richard Gere. Greer? Gear.
Now I know enough that it's Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Pam Greer.
Yeah.
Richard
Why
Gere.
was I thinking Greer? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Richard Gere is the
Julia Roberts.
Have you ever seen Little
Julia
Women?
Roberts? No. Which one? Which one? But no.
You got to see it. Well, the newest one.
The new one?
Yeah, but I've never seen the old version of the
Wait,
asking.
Weren't you here when he gave a full dissertation?
Oh, that's
on
yeah. It was in his top 10, was it not?
Yeah.
His top 10 behind Cars and Oppenheimer.
And Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I think Little Women was 10.
It was 10.
Wow.
It's an incredible piece of art that makes you think about our relationships with people and how we think that maybe we should be in something that we actually don't need to be in, and what is in front of us is actually the best thing that can happen to us.
Okay, that's incredible, first of all. Second of all, we've talked about a line that Matt could have if he was going up to a woman and he wanted to maybe take her out on a date. Sure. I don't know why you don't lead with, I love Little Women.
Little Women's in my top 10.
That comes like halfway through the program.
Okay.
Right?
You're getting to it fast.
No. I would say if we were in a musical, that's probably at the end of Act 1.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're probably closing the first act.
It shows the softer side of Matt McMaster.
It shows a thoughtful side of Matt McMaster.
It does. And you just gave us a nice little dissertation about it.
I can give you a dissertation of Little Women whenever you want. A dissertation of Little Women.
Wow. So I've never seen that, but now I have seen.
Very good movie.
I have seen Little Women.
You should see I feel like your wife would enjoy Little Women as well.
She does. She loves it. We just have never watched it together.
It's great.
Okay. There you go.
All right. It really starts making you realize.
About sisters?
Yes, it's about sisters. It's about how
Florence Pugh in that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's about how family dynamics can bring us closer together, but also recognizing there are barriers or boundaries that we need to, exist within our family.
Where did this come from? This is incredible.
I know it's not a bit, but it's an amazing bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very
Here's
good.
the thing. Matt McMaster, walking bit. There's no such thing as a bit when you are the bit.
The thing he sounds smartest talking about is the movie Little Women.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, because I make an effort to lower my voice and sound very calm and talk.
You do.
Maybe I should just do broadcasting.
If I was listening to you on the radio right now talk about Little Women, that you'd have a jacket with elbow patches.
Yeah.
Maybe a pipe.
Maybe we do need to bring back the movie podcast, the Josh movie podcast, but it's with Matt, and it's only about Little Women.
It's only about Little Women.
Every episode is a breakdown of Little Women.
No. Josh watches a movie, and then I relate it back to Little Women.
That's a good bit. Yeah. That's a good bit. Mm-hmm. I like that. So otherwise on the show today, we will talk a little NBA Finals because the season will come to an end for sure in that game tonight. What are you giggling about over there?
Just some tweets that Josh is getting at.
Oh, yes. We're getting some. I just got a text from somebody that just said, John Ewing. So people are up.
That's what I said when I was walking outside into the booth today. I go, John Ewing. Yeah. Which, by the way, we are wearing our 1620 The Zone polos.
Yeah, we are.
They were able to identify who I was, and they probably needed to follow me by my 1620
That's good.
Polo.
It's good that you wore it today, because if you wouldn't have worn it, they would have been like, I don't trust you. Who are you?
I think I would have.
Guy?
I'll tell you exactly what would have happened.
Yeah.
I would have walked in here, and I go, I think I just saw the mayor out there.
Yeah.
And
we knew he was going to be on in the 10 o'clock hour. We just didn't know when it was going to be.
Neither did I.
By the way, there was a tweet that we got from someone a few moments ago from Jay. Ewing didn't get the message to wear a rope hat, apparently. We are the rope hat boys
today.
Do you know
who bought a rope hat yesterday?
Who?
Gary Sharp.
Gary,
who is anti-rope hat. Very
anti-rope hat. Is he trying to fit in with the kids?
I think he knows he's in a losing battle.
Yeah. Embrace it. Embrace the rope.
I think he did not like it.
Old question, should you embrace the rope?
I think he just goes straight up I do not like rope hats.
Then why did he buy it?
And then because now everybody's got a rope hat, and I think he knows that he's in the wrong.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's cool, but
I would have respected it more if he stuck to his guns and was
I would too.
Rope hats. But I think he kind of caved.
Bill says, OMG, how much food is Matt shoveling in his face during this segment? You did the same thing yesterday. We did a podcast yesterday. The first 10 minutes he's eating. Like, you couldn't eat before the podcast?
It's called coffee, the Saturday morning
It's
coffee.
not called eat breakfast during the show.
I moved away from the microphone when I was eating. I have to eat.
By the way, he doesn't – his Yeti is either – see, you don't pop your peas as bad on these microphones, though. His Yeti, I think, sucks. He put a koozie as a muff. His microphone. Yeah, his Yeti microphone. No. Yeah, his Yeti microphone. But I have a Yeti microphone as well, and mine doesn't sound like poop.
Yeah, but I do pop my peas, and then they get accentuated by the fact that it's on 1% output.
It is. It definitely is.
It's on one.
You sounded good.
Can't go low. I sounded okay. I need to get an actual
You know what I want to get? I want to get the microphone that Happer has. The Shure microphones. Those are sweet.
I need to get.
Those are like 400 bones.
So I don't know if I'm moving out yet.
You're leaving? You're already moving?
No. Not from Omaha. I'm not.
No,
leaving.
but your place.
So the lease is like 16 months.
Yeah, but
So
you're already trying to break it?
No. But like, you still have to kind of start thinking like, all right, do I want to renew it or do I want to move
6
somewhere
months
else?
in, 7 months in?
7 months in now.
So you're
9 months. So
I'd say you're still
a little.
I'd say you're like 4 or 5 months away.
One
really
thing though that I am kind of
try to get a quieter room.
I don't have like an office space.
It's
or anything
very
like
echoey.
that. Yeah.
Where did you record it from?
Just right in front of my table.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little echoey in that room. I've lived in multiple apartments though in Omaha where I could not have done any of the at-home stuff that I do now at those places.
It's not like I have saved up money to like move into like a house or anything like that, you know? But at the same time, I definitely do. I don't have like an office space or anything like that like you guys do. Like I wish I could have
it's
like
nice.
Hey, this is my broadcasting area. This is like the room in which I broadcast. And I just plop it on the table, and most oftentimes my roommate walks in and is like making breakfast while I'm talking about, 19, 20, and 21-year-olds and their capabilities to play football.
Wow, when you break it down, that is what we do.
That is literally what we do. And
Folks,
some people break down 15 and 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they're by the way, Josh was here. There were these two kids who were wearing LSU football shirts. They were 15 years old.
Yeah.
They were 6'5", 270 pounds. Okay.
Those poor parents.
But here's the thing too, though.
And their bills.
Their feet,
yeah,
they had to have like size 10 feet.
Tiny feet.
They're still growing.
Wow.
Those guys.
I feel like your feet get bigger and then your body follows. Isn't that normally
I don't know. I
happens?
just feel like I looked at their feet and I was like, those feet are going to get bigger.
Interesting.
And they also had some small ankles.
Yeah.
They had some good small
ankles. It's like some Tim Miles type stuff. Remember Tim Miles' bit was he would look at the leg hair on the recruits, and if they had too much leg hair, he'd say, nope. I'm screwed. Like, yeah, he would have looked at you and said he's already stopped growing. But if there was like you couldn't see the leg hair, he'd say that guy still has some time to grow.
The guy had some
weird stuff.
Those guys are going to get taller. They also had some nice small ankles, which means that they have some, mobility and flexibility within their legs.
Interesting.
That's a big one too. A lot of guys look at the hips
to
try and see where the hips are located within an athlete. I'm not a hip guy, but I'm an ankle guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. We'll find out what other kind of guy Matt is throughout the show today. We'll also have Evan Bland of the World Herald on. He'll stop by. We'll preview the championship.
Is he going to be here?
He's going to stop by, baby. Yeah, he's going to join us in about an hour. So we'll do all of that and more as we rock and roll. Come by the Zone booth inside of the Omaha Baseball Village. Register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's, official ice cream is 1620 The Zone, celebrating more than 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson in the Old Market, Omaha. And we are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours. And by Children's Nebraska. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster. The end of the college baseball season could happen today. We'll talk about that as we roll on here on 1620 The Zone. Zone booth inside of the Omaha Baseball Village for some chewy granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. Sunbelt Bakery, chewy granola bars, tastiest flavors under the sun. Hour one, presented by Union Bank and Trust. No matter where life takes you, you can always feel good about banking with UBT, member FDIC. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster with you. The 2025 college baseball season could come to an end today if LSU picks up a win over Coastal Carolina, a pitcher's duel last night here. Matt, what a game we saw, and now this LSU team is 9 innings away, 27 outs away from picking up another national championship.
If I was a good broadcaster, I would love to find out when was the last time Coastal Carolina has lost back-to-back games, because I don't know. I don't think that's something
nuts.
that they do. They won 26 in a row.
Yeah. It's been 2 months. Today was 2 months since they had last lost until yesterday. Because we're watching the game.
It's got to be weird.
And they show something up there, and my wife goes, wow, the last time they lost was the day after the Boston Marathon.
Oh my God.
So we were in Boston, and that's the last time that they lost on that Tuesday. Until yesterday.
They had plenty of opportunities to score yesterday.
Man.
It's not like their offense was dormant and they didn't look good. Like, they had some doubles. They had some pretty big hits. They were able to work the count. I mean, Cade Anderson threw 120 pitches yesterday. I mean, it's not as if, he was burning through that lineup. He definitely struggled early on, but when he settled down, the 4th through 7th inning, he was absolutely dominant. But Cade Anderson is such a good pitcher that it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he kind of sucks the energy out of the stadium in a way.
We were just talking to an LSU guy about it, and you asked him about the weather, and he goes, you were like, what did you say? This is probably what it's like during March.
Yeah, March.
And he goes, that's why he was fine last night.
He goes, he's pitching way worse. He's like, he's so used to it. Now, I imagine that Carolina, I mean, they not to the same degree, but I'm sure they've played in hot weather too, because they're in the Sun Belt conference, right?
People forget.
But people do forget.
It's a belt of sun.
But at the same time, it's just like, that guy, like, to come onto this stage, because it's a different stage. We've talked about this over and over again. It's so much different to play here than it is to play anywhere else.
We have seen, Matt, in the College World Series so far this year, the moment
is too big.
And last night it was not that.
Let's be honest here. It was too big for Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
The moment was too big for Arkansas. Okay? It was. I love Dave Van Horn. Okay? I don't mean to be, rude, but let's just be blunt here. The moment was too big for the Razorbacks. The moment was too big for Arizona. The moment was too big for Murray State. Okay?
Yeah.
The moment has not been too big for Cade Anderson, because and we've seen it too translate, and this is where I'm leading to my next statement. Cade Anderson has probably punched himself a ticket to be the number 1 overall pick in this upcoming MLB draft with his 2 performances in the College World Series. Now, we saw a guy
100 whatever pitches last night.
I know. Saw a guy a couple of years ago in Cade Horton for Oklahoma who came out here and didn't have necessarily the best season with Oklahoma during the regular season, but came into the playoffs, was absolutely dominant all the way through Omaha, and got himself to be picked number 9 overall by the Cubs. Like, Anderson coming onto this stage and doing what he's done has been no short of absolutely incredible. And credit to CC too. I mean, they gave up 1 run yesterday and they lost. And I do think that's that's probably the message that Kevin Chenal is telling his team. Is like, guys, you just ran at the best pitcher in the country.
We'll be fine.
And you played a hell of a game. You're going to be okay.
You asked the question, when's the last time they lost 2 in a row? You got to go all the way back to March 22nd and March 23rd. So 3 months. So it's been 2 months since their last loss. Been 3 months since they lost 2 games in a row. And so if they are to keep that streak of not losing 2 games in a row alive, it means that we will be back here tomorrow for a winner-take-all national championship game.
It'll be big. Anderson giving them 9 innings yesterday, being able to save up that bullpen for another day will be massive today. Ianson comes into this outing where he's looked dominant in some outings. He's looked, off in some outings, but he is fresh. So in his last 3 appearances, he's pitched 9 2/3 innings combined. Yeah. So we're talking.
Remember, one of those games is the weather one.
The weather game. Yeah. So It's been a while since he's gone for an extended period of time, but he's fresh, he's raring, he's revving to go. He's their number 2 guy for a reason. But you got to face the big rig today in LSU if you're in Jacob Morrison, right? Morrison had an absolutely incredible outing. I would say I would have put Morrison's outing behind Gage Wood's no-hitter until yesterday's performance from Cade Anderson. Maybe even I would have put Morrison's outing behind Cade Anderson's first performance. But what he did against the Beavers was no short of incredible. Kevin Chenal is going to need that from his ace today. And I think that it's funny, it's good for Coastal Carolina. Look, it's not good to lose the game, but the fact that they didn't get blown out and it was pretty competitive and that they didn't need to run through the bullpen or use a big amount of arms or anything like that. Both these teams enter game 2 still pretty much at full strength and having the plans and that they want to have in this series.
We will talk about this as we continue on a little bit later, and certainly the heat will be a topic of discussion today. It was hot yesterday, but of course today the game will be played entirely in the sun because this one is starting a little after 1:15.
They had this cam that you can watch the game on.
We opened up the ESPN app the other day, and she was like, "What in the world?" Or no, it was on YouTube. She's like, "What in the world is ump cam?"
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Really? Is it just behind
the ump?
No.
Okay.
Behind home plate? No. Thanks.
It's cool for 4 minutes.
Yeah, you don't want to watch 3 hours of baseball like that, though.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But there was a moment, I saw this on Twitter, as Cade Anderson throwing, and it looked at the time, and I don't know what inning it was, but the sun was only on him. And so when he winded up and he threw the pitch, right, you couldn't see the ball until, the ball was out of his hands.
They were talking. Kevin was talking about that on the broadcast last night. Him and Scott were that at the beginning of the game, you're talking about different sunlight and shade, whereas today it's not going to be that way.
No, but it's just it was so interesting. The batter's eye was almost obsolete in terms of the effectiveness because the sun was hitting different parts of the ballpark.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody could hit any of those pitchers for maybe an inning, maybe 2 innings, maybe 3 innings for an extended period of time because I'm looking at this ump cam. I'm like, I can't see the ball. I don't know where the ball is coming from. So it'll be interesting today. This weather, man, it's been a factor all week. It'll be a factor again.
It certainly will. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. When we return, though, kind of a big picture college sports question for you, given that the season could come to an end today. Come by the Zone booth, the bullpen inside the Omaha Baseball Village, and register to win a 1620 The Zone prize pack of KC Royals porch tickets and ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's, 13th and Mike Fahey. We are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. We'll wrap up hour number 1 when we return. Josh Peterson and Matt McMaster on the special edition of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Finishing up hour number 1 here at the Omaha Baseball Village, and it's been presented by Union Bank and Trust. No matter where life takes you, you can always feel good about banking with UBT, member FDIC. A reminder, 1620 The Zone Special Edition Zone Hotline is powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. You can text us at 402-951-1620. Bruce texts in, please use the same interview format with Evan as last time.
Oh.
Baseball, football.
You want to do that again?
I don't know. We'll see how the bit
How about
goes.
this? Baseball, Little Women. Baseball, Little Women.
Now, okay,
Baseball,
you do
Little
that,
Women.
I'll laugh pretty hard. I wanted to ask you this as we wrap up hour number 1 of the show here. So as we mentioned, could potentially end the baseball season today, which means that we would end then the 24-25 college sports season, right? And all of us would turn our attention to the fall. Volleyball, soccer, and yes, football returns. Thank God. A year from now, we are entering into, let me take a step back. We're entering into a new era of college sports. Players will get paid directly by the universities themselves. We're wondering what's going to happen with collectives, yada, yada, yada. 1 year from now, when we are back here doing a show, will it feel different? Will we notice a difference in how we are watching college sports, or is it just going to be something we know about, but it will not affect the action on the field?
I think we will be coming up on the turning point of like, okay, this is happening.
Okay.
So I think next year,
still be fairly.
It's going to be relatively, whatever you think normal is, I think we'll be pretty close to that marker. I still think there will be multiple conferences with multiple bids, and, you know, you'll have a lot of, I really don't like the word parity, more so diversity amongst the schools, right? Yeah. And so you'll see that there will be there'll still be Big 12 schools and the NCAA tournament, SEC, and, you know, a Big 10 here, there, and the ACC. And when we get to the College World Series, I mean, heck, last year, we weren't in the time we are now, and we only had 2 conferences represented, right? So, like, if we have that again next year, I'm not really going to be able to – I'm not going to be like, oh, my God, it's changing, because we've already seen it happen before. But I think we will be on the precipice of, like, all right, these changes are about to materialize, right, because of the money being invested. But, you know, something I've been thinking about recently is I think I've been friends with athletes who weren't football players. And everybody kind of knew without saying it that they are the most important sport.
Football?
Right. Football is the most important sport. It makes the most money. They are prioritized more than
anything. It sustains the athletic department.
Yes. But they never really knew, like, where they ranked amongst the other sports in terms of, like, importance.
And
right?
now we're going to find out.
Now we're going to find out. And it'll be really interesting to see, like, how athletes take that.
Yeah.
Where they're like, all right, I play on the 6th most important team.
That's a great point, Matt.
At the school.
Because we have talked about coaches arguing for themselves. I hadn't thought about that from the player perspective, though.
Because,
like, how should I feel as an athlete that I am viewed as this? Now, I would have to guess that there is an understanding, like, because, like, you're right. Like, now they're going to put a number on it, but But
here's another thing. But here's why it really changes and why I think it has a big impact. Because it used to be you could recruit a kid and say, hey, we're in the Big 10. We care more about basketball.
Sure.
Than these other conferences. You want to play basketball, you come to the Big 10. Now here's the recruiting pitch. It's like, well, to a transfer portal guy, well, you go to, say, Josh, you go to the University of you go to Northwestern.
Okay.
Good example. Okay?
Classic Matt.
Hey, you're at Northwestern, right? Baseball for your school is the 6th most important sport, right? They get the 6th most money. Here at Indiana, we give our baseball team the 3rd most money. Mm-hmm. We invest more in baseball than where you're currently at. Yeah. So it's not even hey, the Big 10 is this, and and the conferences are this. It really just comes down to, like, hey, we're able to tell you that we care more about the sport that you play than the current school that you're at. Yeah. Or the other school that's recruiting you. Hey, Charlie, you know, I know that you're really interested in Iowa, but you know Iowa only gives the 5th most amount of money to their baseball team. We give the 3rd most amount.
It's a good point.
We're going to be invested in you.
How does it change how teams recruit?
The dynamics of, like, now that we know, now that we're aware that, hey, you're not as important as these other sports, I think will be a very interesting little layer to this new era of football or just sports.
Yeah, it definitely will. It definitely will. There you go.
So my soliloquy.
I like it.
Austin Jacobson.
Wow.
How are you, my man?
In the building yet again.
Always good to
I'll
see
shake your
you.
hand during the commercial
You
break.
have a great button-down game. I've been meaning
he's
to
looking
tell
good
you
today.
That. Well, you do have a good butt, too.
Nice.
But, like,
shout out to Austin.
Your
respect.
Your button-down game. And you see what I did there? Your button-down game is very impressive. You've been wearing them all week.
We'll see if Matt says the same thing to Evan Bland when he joins us at the bottom of the 11 o'clock hour. We are on until 1:15 today, ahead of LSU Coastal Carolina game 2. If LSU wins, they are the national champions of college baseball. If Coastal Carolina wins, we have one more game to be played, and that would be tomorrow. Special thanks to KRT Athletic Muscle Cream, providing increased performance to people who suffer from muscle fatigue and cramps, and by Cross Train Brewing, Nebraska fresh and always evolving. We are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. Hour number 2 coming up. We got Evan Bland. We got to talk college football. Odd news. So many more things.
Odd son.
And maybe we'll bully Austin into coming on, perhaps.
You should come on.
All right, there we go. We bullied him. All right, hour number 2 next here on 1620 The Zone. Come by the Zone booth at the bullpen inside of the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win a 1620 The Zone prize pack of KC Royals porch tickets and ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's 13th and Mike Fahey. We are into Hour 2, and Hour 2 is presented by Nebraska Medicine.
Yeah.
Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers.
Nebraska Medicine, baby.
We love them.
We do.
Yep. And we love children in Nebraska.
And we love Austin Jacobson.
Oh.
You know him from Herd Out
Man.
Sports and interviewing baby Gronk.
Huge get for my career. To
What-
the moon. That's
what-
where my career is going.
What has the response been, Austin, from your fellow media members
Oh,
and
that's great.
fans about
No.
interviewing baby Gronk?
Not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me.
There's one media member who's been outspoken in his support, and it has been Matt McMaster. The rest has been poor and not
Yes.
received well. But
I
it's because I'm the only one who is capable of doing that type of an interview.
So we're
That's why.
jealous, maybe, when we say this is a dumb thing.
That could be
get
that. Yeah.
Austin.
It could be a potential. Yes, it's a very interesting world that we live in. That I now do have the number of a 13-year-old boy named Baby Gronk on my phone, but I got to him before Matt.
Wait,
ruled
he's
it,
13? I thought he was older than that.
He's 13 or I don't know.
Yikes.
I didn't verify. I should
Tough.
have asked. Very.
I
tough.
don't know.
Yeah.
That maybe is creepier.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I thought it was a great interview. I thought because this is what the internet is.
Yeah,
right?
in
This
fact,
is
yeah, 100%.
this is what content is. People, whether I can't stand the kid and I can't stand his father. I think it's an absolute joke.
Yeah.
But it gets clicks and people click on it and
Listen,
think it's funny. It does.
He taught me how to
And-
riz.
and you-
he told me I have no aura. And he rated.
Has he not seen your shirt?
Not today. He hasn't. but he also rated Dylan Raiola the number 1 quarterback in the Big Ten. So.
Yikes. Bad takes all around.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You kind
Who
of-
are you putting number 1? Nico? You can't put that guy
No.
number 1.
No,
it's
Drew
Drew
Aller.
Aller.
Drew Aller. No, no,
and
no,
then
no,
it's
no.
and then it's Luke Altmaier.
Drew Aller, didn't he throw an interception in like the biggest game of the year for
He
Penn
got
State
their
last
last
year?
game.
Mm,
He got his
interesting.
team to the biggest game.
That
Okay,
is
so
true,
Aller-
but then he still choked at the end. So
He
that's
actually
the
had
guy
a
you
really
want on
good
your team.
college
Luke
football.
Altmaier being number 2 is tough for the Big Ten. That's a tough
I
look.
well,
he is
disagree.
actually the
But let's
second
I
have-
best.
disagree.
this is
I
a-
like Luke Altmaier.
But you like him to be the second best quarterback in a power conference
He's
that
the
will
second
have
best
4 teams in the
he's
playoffs?
Well,
second
but
best
also-
returning.
Correct, because
Yes.
none of these.
We're talking-
Julian Saying is
That's
going to end up
the
being
thing.
the number 1
But-
quarterback.
but-
Also, Dante Moore to the moon.
Well,
Take
that's
Dante
enough-
Moore.
I'm
yeah,
a big
that's
Dante
great
Moore
take.
guy. I'm actually a really big Dante Moore guy.
He got screwed over at UCLA. They needed him to save. Well, at the time,
They didn't have an
thought-
offensive line.
Well, no, the idea was like, oh, he's going to come and saving Brian Kelly's job, but Brian Kelly didn't even want to be there.
No, he
Chip
was like,
Kelly.
no, I'll
No,
Chip Kelly.
Chip-
Yeah, Brian
Chip
Kelly's at
Kelly, my
LSU.
bad.
He's
Yeah,
like, I'm
that's
leaving.
whatever.
Yeah, bye-bye.
But like, I know what you're saying that it's bad for the Big Ten, but if you look at the Big Ten, they actually have some really good quarterback prospects. Like Dante Moore is a great quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all young.
Sayan's
It's
a
one
great
of those
quarterback
that in the
prospect.
preseason,
Raiola.
in the preseason, you're not allowed to say like what the quarterback ranking
Sure.
actually should be.
Yeah.
But by week 12, we'll all be
We'll
saying
all be-
kind of the same. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's probably going to be Drew Aller and Justin Sayin and like these guys.
Isn't that what's happening with Arch Manning, where there are some people who
Yes.
are like, I'm going to put him as the number 1 quarterback in the country because I believe he will be, and then others are like, I haven't seen him play yet.
Exactly.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
played,
He
but I
had
haven't
the
seen him start.
highest Heisman odds.
Yeah.
At one point.
That's
which is
nuts
wild.
too. I think Arch Manning will be good, and honestly, like in all the games that you have seen him so far, there's not a whole lot to be like. It's not like I don't see something I
Yeah.
don't like, but there's also the part of it.
It's just
too.
such a small sample size.
Yeah, right. And
and-
to be fair, he was also placed into some really bad situations, like that Georgia game. Like I don't even know what he was doing out
I
there.
don't even know why they put him in. Like at that point, you can't just throw that. And
And then to
Georgia-
take him back and put him on the bench again and put Quinn Ewers back.
Right.
But
yeah.
then another thing too was that like it wasn't as if like Quinn wasn't playing the best game, but they just couldn't pick up the blitz. Like they couldn't just block these guys. Let me look at the Heisman odds because the last time I looked at it, I love the odds.
Who's do you know the Heisman odds off the top of your head?
No, I thought that
so it's Aller is
Okay,
2.
so
it goes.
I
and
thought
then-
that Arch Manning was number 1.
Before you get too far down, who do you think is the top non-quarterback Heisman odds?
Ooh,
it's Jeremiah Smith.
well,
Oh, that would make sense. Thanks
Yeah.
for ruining it.
is that who it is?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say maybe one of the running backs from Penn
Sorry.
State.
I also thought it could be a running back, but
Yeah.
yeah, Jeremiah Smith does. Make
Jeremiah
sense
Smith
too.
makes the most sense because if Julian Saying is good,
Are they going to credit
in lo-
Jeremiah Smith?
a
Yeah.
large part of it is I mean, he made Will Howard look, above average.
Yeah.
Wow. Not that Will Howard is
Future
bad.
Steeler.
So
Well,
here's
current Steeler.
let me give you the Heisman odds because this is actually super interesting. So
Okay.
you have Arch Manning.
He's number 1.
plus 600.
Okay.
Then you have Cade Klubnik plus 1,000.
I don't hate that, but I'm not a huge Kate Klubnik fan, just on
Same.
principle.
Same.
Then you have
Principal.
Garrett Nussmeier.
People love Garrett Nussmeier,
The Nuss
man.
bus, it could could burn down. I mean, truthfully. And I don't think it's his fault. It's just LSU's schedule is brutal.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if he wins the Heisman, it's because they survive. That's probably more or less what it is.
Jeremiah Smith is plus 1,200, which I think I think that's a great bet.
Well,
yeah, but receivers are hard, though, because it's, again, you have to separate the quarterback from the receiver.
Correct. Yes. And that, it happened a few years ago, the COVID year. They gave it to Devontae Smith instead of Mac Jones.
Now,
and so like Julian saying it's interesting because I think, as a prospect, he is a much better prospect than Will Howard.
Much better.
So, like, I think people would be happy to say, hey, it's you. But we've also seen Jeremiah Smith, so we know how insane he is.
That's another reason why Devontae Smith won that Heisman is because the year before he had his big moment, everyone knew his name already. So it's like, let's just fit
That's
him
a good
there.
point. Yeah, for sure.
Also, not a returner, Jeremiah Smith, which never really helps, but it seems like in today's day, if you're a receiver going to win it, you don't have to be a returner.
Yeah, that's true.
Right behind Smith is his quarterback, Julian Sayin, which is actually it's an interesting point to the point you were making.
Split the vote.
Yeah.
Then you got Drew Aller, who's behind Julian Sayin, which is kind of crazy to me. Then you have, I like this for a bet for the mixed sports book, Lenora Sellers. South Carolina.
That's the most like Cam Newton-esque one that
people love Sellers. They're buying on Sellers.
Attaboy. The thing about Sellers though is that he does have that like dynamic highlight playability.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like when you think of Heisman Trophy winners, you think of like certain plays. Like you close your eyes and like, oh, I remember him making that play. Like Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier, Julian Sayin, they don't have that. Well, Manning might. But
Manning's very mobile.
But the other three don't really have that ability where you're like, oh, my God, they're going to run through this defense.
But to be fair, we haven't seen Sayin play, but also it's not like we know him to be like a super mobile quarterback. Like he's known to be able to throw the ball. When you close your eyes and you think, oh, this is going to be a Drew Aller like Heisman moment, it's him throwing the ball down the field.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's what it's going to be.
And it's intercept.
Well, it's not even him throwing the ball down the field. I would say it's just like you look at the box score.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, my God, he threw for 432 yards with a 74% completion percentage. Like, this guy's incredible.
Yeah.
It's not unfair to think, though, that if Penn State does what they are supposed to do and they actually, like, win the Big Ten, regular season, they're unbeaten, they get to the Big Ten championship game and they win that, Aller should probably be one of the three best Heisman.
They have a really good roster, but he would, I think, have to level up for them to do what you're talking about. Because that would mean they'd have to go into the shoe and beat Ohio State. They've beat Ohio State since 16.
And unless he throws for 67 yards in that game with like 3 picks, there's no way that they're just going to like discredit that win and not give it to him.
Correct.
Lagway at plus 2,000. Are you buying the floor? A lot of people are buying the Florida
Lagway and Manning are on like a parallel line where everyone's like, oh, these two are going to be so good. And like, but Lagway you have seen a little bit more of, I suppose.
And he got some solid wins last year, right? Like they beat Ole Miss towards the end of the season, and so people are really excited about that one. But man, I don't know. I feel like we were all maybe a year too early on Billy Napier. Thank you. I was going to say Billy Donovan.
I almost said Billy Donovan too.
On Billy Napier being fired, and not to say he will for sure, but like they overperformed what I was expecting from them last year. I just don't know if they can do that again though. But I mean, people love Lagway.
So here's one that I do like a lot. Sam Leavitt is at plus 3,000. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason why I like it a lot is Arizona State is bringing back a lot of pieces on that.
They are
offense this year.
And still have the running back.
And they're going to be in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And the Big 12 isn't at the same level as the SEC and the Big 10. But I still think that it's a conference that if you just dominate in, you're still going to get credit for dominating.
I think that is a good part of this equation, though, is like obviously you have more voters that are based like in the Southeast Conference. You have more of those East Coast voters. So like retrospectively, if someone's going to get all the media votes and all that sort of stuff too, they're probably going to credit it to someone that's probably in
the
one of the two best conferences. Yeah. And no matter what Sam Leavitt does, he would have to outperform by different variables than the other big-time conference
He's got an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Because he's in the Big 12.
But he does have that big playability. Right. And I loved him when he was at Michigan State.
Really?
And when I just like guys.
You're the only person to say that.
No,
that's the first time that sentence.
No. The reason why is because he was a really good prospect and he had a lot of athletic ability, and they were just trying to like teach him how to play quarterback a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And like you could see in the very sparing times he played at Michigan State, it's actually funny. He's kind of similar to Aiden Childs. You could see the good. You could see the really good, and then you could see the bad. And then it took Kenny Dillingham coaching him up at Arizona State to be like, all right, like he kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
When Nebraska was very interested in him, like Nebraska was right there. There was a moment where I think it was very close, and then the things with Dylan happened, and Dylan ended up committing. But if he became if he was the Nebraska quarterback, I would have been very happy with that.
Well, remember they almost signed a Common Core too.
Yeah, what a quarterback room that could have been,
dude.
And Heinrich Harburg.
It seemed for a moment that they were going to have McCord and Raiola, and I was like, oh my gosh.
There was, and then they were going to try and get Julian Fleming, who ended up going to Penn State.
Yeah,
that was a fun 8 hours. That was a really good time.
I was off that Monday. That was insane because all that the Dylan Raiola started trickling out at 5, and I'm like, wait a second, what?
I was working out, and when I worked out, when I was working out, I left my phone.
I was in the gym.
This is a good story. I left my phone in my house, and then I just went to the gym, and I was just like, I just didn't.
Sicko behavior.
That is crazy.
I wanted a quick workout, and I know if I have my phone on me, it's going to be a much longer workout because I'm going to get distracted. And so
iPad boy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I am. I'm a doom scroller, dude.
Yeah.
Like people are like, why don't you watch movies? It's because I'm watching YouTube shorts of guys playing slots on in Vegas. It's bad.
That is disgusting.
It's so disgusting.
Matt, you need to stop. Anyway, so you're working out.
So I'm working out. 45 minutes come by. I get to my phone. I have 4 different calls, 100 different text messages, being
very braggy right now.
No,
I have
I'm
friends,
not bragging.
I'm so
it's a very, it's a,
not to brag.
Dylan
Raiola called me himself.
Yeah, he texted me
because we're
GBR.
Because we're sickos, though. The Dylan Raiola flipping his commit from Georgia to Nebraska very much is a "where were you" moment.
Yeah.
You are a big,
it was in all seriousness. Yeah. It was a
I disagree.
Day.
I think the poem was the "Where were you" moment. That was
my gosh.
I'll never forget where I was when I read that poem for the first time.
I found out. I don't remember if I ever mentioned this on the show that I know the person who wrote that. Well, my dad knows the person. It's somebody from his church.
Your dad knows Dylan Raiola?
No, knows the person who wrote. Yeah, nice
guys.
Yeah, he was he took it off of the guy's Facebook or something.
Did I wait? What? Did I miss something?
There was this
the poem. You don't remember the poem that he wrote in his flip?
This
is incredible. This is impossible that you don't know that.
There it is.
How long was your workout? Jeez, did you miss this too?
No idea. What?
Oh my god. Has this been read live on 1620 The Zone?
All right, so I found the tweet from December 18th, 2023.
You found that tweet so quick.
All you got to do is search Dylan Raiola poem.
This is insane.
This is the truest "Where were you" moment.
So it's a screenshot of a graphic. And so Dylan wrote, "Go Big Red. In the realm of college dreams where purpose takes flight, enter Dylan Raiola crafting his narrative in the night. Once lured by Georgia where powerhouse glory gleamed, yet Nebraska's purpose in his heart brightly beamed. In the scarlet and cream where legacies entwine, Dylan, like Rogers, Rozier, and Crouch, a hero in the line. No longer a cog in some powerhouse machine, but a quarterback with an even grander ambition unseen. So fellow fans await with hope in the air for Dylan to choose his purpose to declare. In a weekend's decision, destiny calls to fulfill his purpose where a new dynasty enthralls."
Boom.
That is some random guy.
Listen,
shout out.
He wins a national championship. That gets engraved onto Memorial Stadium.
Like the Tim Tebow thing.
Yep.
My gosh.
Yep.
I
love the AABBCCDD rhyming pattern. The guy clearly loves The Night Before Christmas.
He should have done it in a haiku. That would have really thrown people off.
Peter King loved haikus.
Dude, can you imagine if there was actually some very it was very slam poetry that poem? It very much was it wasn't about rhyming, but it was about emotion. That would have been awesome.
Austin Jacobson, what an interview.
Yeah,
thank you for stopping by. What are you doing today? What's on the agenda for you?
Today I have 12 to 16 ears of corn. I'm going to make LSU and Coastal fans shuck corn for TikTok. That'll be quite fun.
Wow.
They will. So here's the great thing. I'll say, hey, you earn a prize if you do this.
You get a prize.
And you get the ear of corn that you just shucked.
What are they going to do with the ear of corn?
I don't know. Maybe
they're in hotel rooms.
Yeah. They don't have
They'll keep it as a memento.
Water.
It'll be great. Yeah. That'll be the best part.
So they're going to put the ear of corn in their clear bag?
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the details. I'm just worried about the content. That's what I'm for.
Hey, that's Matt. Wow. This guy does content.
Yep. Content.
Austin
I think
Jacobson.
That's worse. I think that's worse than your Baby Gronk interview.
No.
Wow.
You take that back. Hey, I'm also having.
I loved your Baby Gronk interview.
We will have fans telling me what they would name famous Nebraska landmarks, like Carhenge.
Okay.
And the Kearney Archway, all
right.
things you're familiar with, Josh.
I know about the Archway. It's 3 hours from Omaha. I've driven. You don't know about the Archway?
Guys, I know about the arch.
You should take a 1620
No.
the trip to Carhenge. I think you'd have a lot of fun in
Excellent
Alliance.
I'm
Yes.
good, my man.
Take 5. Here's my take on the Carney Arch. That'd be a good take 5.
It would be a
We're
good
looking
take
for
5.
July content. That could be All-Star Week when there's no sports.
You could do the show live from the Arch.
Speaking of All-Star Week, we're hoping that Austin fills in for John because that's about the time he's going on vacation.
Oh, I'm about to book.
Oh, is
my
that the middle of July?
vacation. Can't wait.
Yeah, John's gone the 16th through the 18th.
Oh, yeah. Did I not text you back?
No.
I thought, okay, yes, I can do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
Oh,
Austin
hey,
will be in the
come
building.
on. You should do the show from the Carhenge.
No, I'm not
It's
driving.
better to have
Yeah.
him in person.
Yeah,
It's
come on.
better for the content.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to.
Wow, dude, we're going to be so close to Big Ten Media Days.
Oh,
Are you
boy.
going to Las Vegas?
No, I'm not going to Las Vegas.
Okay, I just am asking. Your company will be sending
Unless,
somebody there, right?
unless there's fans that need TikTok, that's what I can do.
You can
out
do
there.
TikTok stuff with people. Who's
Hey,
going? Who's
hey,
going to
you
say?
don't-
Gary and Damon? Or Gary and Damon.
Attaboy.
I'm tired.
Attaboy.
Robbie and Damon?
Robbie and Damon, yeah,
Yeah.
more than likely.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Anybody else? Sasha will
Um,
probably be there.
Yeah, Sasha, maybe Avery.
Avery,
So
yeah.
that's my
Anna?
best guess.
Hey,
Maybe Anna. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that list looks like.
Your
I'm not
sportscaster of the year.
I'm not privy to the that level of the content game yet. So
Okay.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
like
hey.
there's the next meeting level I need to get to. I'm still on the TikTok level.
yeah.
Like, eventually I'll get
hey,
there.
Content
so.
nice.
I'm trying my best.
All right, come on.
Hashtag.
All right.
Hey,
Have fun
by the way-
shucking.
Hey.
By the way, real quick, you don't
Yes.
think Matt Rule will do a TikTok with you?
Not with me, no.
Why?
No. Well, because I stole his interview with Baby Gronk before he could get to it, so
He
he's
stole
probably
his
probably
thunder.
upset with me.
You should have done. You
Yeah.
should have done an interview with Baby Gronk sitting on a steer.
I
that
could
would've
have.
been-
That would have been bad having jumping off a tractor.
I
Yes.
can't wait to talk about
Jump
this with
off-
John tomorrow. He
jump-
is going to yell so much.
Jump
I-
off the tractor onto the steer with Baby Gronk.
You know what I have missed the most out of the past week is just the
John.
classic John Bishop. What the hell? I miss that.
What
Just-
the hell?
It rings in the ear in the perfect way. Oh,
Yeah.
it just hits the right tones. But always a pleasure, you guys. Always a
Austin
pleasure.
Jacobson, Heard That Sports. Watch out for TikToks of corn shucking. The 1620 The Zone Hydration sponsor is Coke Zero Sugar. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Take a taste.
Yes.
And come by the Zone booth inside the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream is 1620 The Zone, celebrating more than 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson in the Old Market, Omaha. We will come back. We have Evan Bland coming up at the bottom of the hour. We will talk about the baseball today, and Matt might ask him about Little Women over and over
I already
and
have
over.
a question.
He's already got a question. So we'll do that. Got some NBA Finals talk to do. We haven't talked – well, we did just talk some college football with Austin, so that was fun. We got some more football that we can discuss. And who knows what else. We're on for another 2 hours ahead of Game 2 of the championship series. LSU, Coastal Carolina. Tigers win. They are the champs. Coastal Carolina wins. We're playing another day. More to come on 1620 The Zone. Hour 2 is presented by Nebraska Medicine, Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. And the special edition Zone Hotline is powered by Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. You can text us at 402-951-1620. We will have Evan Bland joining us the bottom of the hour. Looking forward to that conversation. NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Game 7 tonight. First Game 7 in 9 seasons. Last time we had one, the Cleveland Cavaliers, road underdog, went on the road. LeBron James, the most famous play of his entire career, happened as he blocks Andre Iguodala. And the Cavaliers stunned the basketball world, coming back from a 3-1 deficit, winning their first ever national championship. I use that as an entry point to ask you this, Matt. Where would a Pacers title rank in the annals of complete and total surprises? You can go with just the NBA or you can go broadly, because they are 48 minutes away from their first ever NBA championship, coming against a 68-win team in the Oklahoma City Thunder, who, when they are at their best, run teams off the floor and win by 20, 30 points. And yet, this team has fought. They were up 1-0. They were up 2-1. They dominated in Game 6 to force a Game 7. And I just can't help but thinking, this might be even more surprising than, like, the Pistons won over the Lakers, because that's what everybody always says.
No, this is the order. It goes the 2019 Raptors, okay, because I think a lot of people did not anticipate they were going to win that title at all until they kind of did it and everybody got hurt.
Yeah, the Warriors had a lot of injuries.
2011, Mavericks beating.
That was awesome. I believe they could, but I also hated the Heat, so it's probably just me being a hater more than anything else.
And then I would go the Pistons, Pistons winning that. And then you got to go to, I think it was 1994-95. The Houston Rockets were like a 6 seed.
They won as a 6 seed in 1995 over the Magic.
Yes.
The Magic blew Game 1.
Nick Anderson, shout out.
Yeah.
Illinois grad. One of the best Illinois basketball players ever.
Yeah.
One of the best Orlando Magic players ever.
Orlando misses all the free throws, and the Rockets win, and then they go on to sweep them.
And then, I don't know, I think 89, you kind of knew that the Pistons were there, that they were going to finally beat the Lakers. And then in the 1970s, it's like you got so many different, so they're really only, if you break it down, there's been one every decade where it's like, ooh, I didn't see that coming.
Well, what about the Cavs Warriors one? I mean, because if you include that, that's 3 from last decade that we could mention.
No, because
I was surprised by that.
I wasn't surprised that the Cavaliers won in 2016, that they won the title in 2016.
Yeah.
Was I surprised that they came back down from 3-1 and ended up beating a 73-9 Golden State team? Yes, I was surprised that they were able to do it in the manner in which they did. But if you told me at the beginning of the season, hey, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to end up being the NBA
That's
champions,
fair. You're right.
I don't think I would have batted my eye.
Whereas if I tell you in October, hey, the Pacers are going to win the title,
like,
you'd say,
what?
Yeah.
I would love to see, once again, if I was a good broadcaster, I would have retroactively looked on OddsShark at what was the Pacers' beginning of the year odds to win the title. Because I bet.
You know, it's funny, that actually wasn't even their lowest. It dropped because of the bad start that they got off to.
So I do think it would be unlikely. But man, I'm getting a little sick and tired of this whole. We have these narratives of teams heading into the postseason, right at the beginning of the postseason, and we make these claims. And I'm not talking about you or me. I'm talking more so about the engine behind the NBA, which is ESPN.
Yeah.
They make these claims about this team that they're not this good or they're not this elite. All right, Southern Miss, was that Southern Miss? So. We make these claims and we say we basically categorize these teams as like, oh, the Pacers aren't that good, right?
Yeah.
And then they go on and they win the first round and they make the big comeback against Milwaukee. And they're like, man, well, they're still not all that, And then they go and then they beat Cleveland, right? Or they win in the second round.
And they destroyed
Cleveland, who was like the number 1 seed. And we're like, man, Donovan Mitchell was off, Darius Garland got hurt, and this and that. No, not a big deal. And then they go ahead and they play the Knicks, right? And then they beat the Knicks. And we say, well, I mean, is Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, like, are they really like superstars? Are they really all that good, right? And then they come in and they play the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we get to Game 7. And they've beaten them 3 times in a series where they were plus 500 to win the title. Now they're in Game 7. And we go, well, actually, like, we refuse to admit, and ESPN refuses to admit that they were wrong, that they were incorrect, that they had this idea of what the Pacers were, and they were not right in thinking what they thought the Pacers were. And so they don't admit that they're wrong. And instead, because they don't want to do that, we just continue to discredit them and be like, well, it's so improbable that they made all these comebacks. And it's so Tyrese Halliburton, he's not really a superstar. Like, we do everything to take away to like protect ourselves, where we should just amplify the product and be like, no, the Pacers are that.
Yeah.
And
that's
more,
fair.
and then some. Because they're in Game 7.
They're in Game 7. They're, again, 48 minutes away from their
and yet
first ever
they're
NBA
still a
championship.
7.5-point underdog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every game in Oklahoma City and some of the games in Indiana.
They've been no. They've been underdogs in every single game.
I know that, but like a lot of the games are climbing to a number like this.
Yeah.
Every single time.
So it just this whole optics of like, would this be the most unlikely
So
NBA
you still don't think it would be?
No, but okay. There's a difference between what are we going to call it and what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Heading into the beginning of the year, heading into the beginning of the playoffs, yes, massively. It is unlikely. It's unpredictable. Not a lot of people saw this coming, right?
Yeah.
If they were to win the title. But if you're just looking at the body of work, they have won 15 games against the top teams in basketball. Cleveland was incredible this year. They beat them. New York was really good this year. They beat them. Milwaukee had Giannis Antetokounmpo. They beat them.
Isn't that the issue with like the way that people viewed them, the lens in which people viewed the Pacers was through the lens of they hit all these Eastern teams in a conference that people just didn't really think was very good.
Yeah.
It was like the Celtics and even the Cavs, as good as they were regular season record wise, nobody really bought into that.
Exactly.
Championship contender.
But that was.
And so they beat them, and it's like, yeah, cool. You beat the flawed Cavs.
Problem. That's another
you beat
problem
the flawed Knicks.
But that's another problem with the Cavs and just with the NBA. If the Lakers had, with the superstars they have and had that record, we would be like, oh my God, they're a juggernaut, right?
Yeah.
Like that is the flaw of the NBA. We just put way too much into markets and way too much into big cities and way too much into superstars we've actually built up.
Yeah.
Right? And we were, for whatever reason, the engine that may be refuses to do that with younger stars.
We are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. And a special thanks to KRT Athletic Muscle Cream, providing increased performance to people who suffer from muscle fatigue and cramps. And by Cross Train Brewing, Nebraska Fresh, and always evolving. Evan Bland's going to join us when we return. We will talk about the game today. Will LSU lock up another national championship? Evan has just arrived. We'll discuss that with him when we return, and we'll see what questions Matt McMaster has for Evan Bland today. Could it be Husker football related? Could it be NBA Finals related? Could it be something else? It looks like it's going to be something else. We'll do that with Evan when we return. Get you ready for Game 2 of the championship series, which will get going later today on 1620 The Zone. Hour number 2 here at the Omaha Baseball Village is presented by Nebraska Medicine. Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers. And another special edition Zone Hotline in person is powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, omaha.com, huskerextra.com, kind enough to join us for the second time over the last week as we get ready for LSU and Coastal Carolina. Evan, thank you so much for joining us. I cannot promise anything with my partner today. How are you?
Hey, Evan.
Doing great. No, brunch, CWS, and this is good. I was thinking about our last exchange the other day, and it hang with me here. It reminded me of the movie Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, okay.
where Hannibal Lecter comes up there and he goes, "This is going to be a quid pro quo type of situation," and I felt like we were going back and forth. We had the kind of the double interview going on, so I appreciate that. That was innovative. I think we're breaking new ground.
I think it was one of your best interviews that you've done. I cannot wait to see what happens today. Josh Peterson, your first question.
Yeah, I'll start this thing, and we'll see what happens next with Matt. Last night, LSU, Coastal Carolina, an incredible pitchers duel. LSU gets the 1-0 victory. Anything surprise you, I guess, Evan, about how that game unfolded? First loss in a couple of months for Coastal. You see, 100-plus pitches on one side. I mean, just an incredible game. Anything surprise you about what we saw?
I mean, it was the Cade Anderson game. Like that's what you're going to remember. And he wasn't like overly dominant. He walked 5. He hit a couple guys.
Yeah.
Like Coastal had men on just about every inning against him, except for I think 7 and 9. They had somebody on, and so like he always found a way to settle in, work out of it. This was a guy who the conversation was he could be the number 1 overall pick next month. He's probably going to be top 3 or 4 for sure. So I don't think he hurt his stock there, but you know it was a little reminiscent of what we saw like a couple of years ago with the Skeens, Rhett Lauder. That was a semifinal game in the CWS, but sort of had that kind of vibe to it a little bit where when you think back, you're going to say, yeah, this was a high-end prospect performing at the top of his game. I think Cameron Flukie for Coastal, I mean, he's going to be a top-end pick in a year. So I think that's a game that you could look back on in a few years and say, I mean, that was some high-powered stuff that we saw there. And I mean, you see the end of a long winning streak that Coastal had. That's something you remember 26. Too. But it was fun. You know, I think this College World Series, there haven't been a ton of those pitchers duels. There have been a couple. Yeah. But a lot of them have been a little higher scoring. Yeah. And so to kind of see this sort of throwback ace versus ace sort of showdown, I thought was a lot of fun.
So in the movie Little Women,
how little are these women?
No, well, it's a bunch of sisters together, and they're just trying to figure out life. And Laurie is in love. He's the male lead actor. Okay, he's played by Timothée Chalamet. Is one of his best performances. Laurie is in love with Joe Marsh. Okay, and
who's a girl?
Who's a woman? Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to be with Joe. I have to be with Joe. Joe is going to solve all of my problems. But he later finds out in the movie that it was Amy, her sister.
Spoiler alert.
Is the one that he wants to be with and the one that is best for her. Do you think with Nebraska football, that fans might be looking at Dylan Raiola as their Joe Marsh, but there might be an Amy who could be Dayton Raiola, or could be TJ Lateef, or could be TJ Lateef, or could be Trey Taylor? That maybe there is another one, but it's not the one that they're looking at.
I think if there's
in particularly Trey Taylor,
if there's an Amy out there,
yes,
I think it's a different position. Like I think if you look at it and say, you know, it's Raiola, he's going to lead you to the promised land. What if it's the defense?
Sure.
What if it's a loaded receiving core? What if it's special teams that win you a game or two? You know, that's probably where I'd go.
So you think the Amy Marsh of Nebraska football is already somewhere within the roster? Could be
potentially. Okay. Yeah, if you're playing like the Bachelor here, like Dylan Raiola would be the one who would be the obvious
favorite,
top candidate. But there are other ones. Like you go out on a date, you see how things happen.
Sure.
And as the season goes on, that's sort of, I suppose, that courtship period.
Okay.
And maybe it'll be somebody else. So I didn't expect that's where you were going with that. But that was fun.
I appreciate it.
Incredible stuff. Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald, and omaha.com. Evan, there was conversation last night about the Heat. I know that you and your cohorts were trying to find the hottest games that have ever happened in the College World Series. Today, it's going to be warm, but notably, of course, this one's going to be played in the sun the entire time. We're not going to get that shade. It's like, how does it affect the game? It will affect it. How does that show itself, do you think, this afternoon?
Well, I think the wind is as much as the heat is probably going to do it. I mean, we saw that a little bit last night. I don't know that there were a ton of plays where you think, wow. I mean, I think Milam had a ball to the wall in right field.
Yes,
that would have gone out if the conditions had been really anything.
It left the bat, and you're like,
were.
oh my gosh! And then it's like, oh, never mind.
Right. I mean, that went right up to the top of the wall, so that would have been 10 rows deep. I think
that would have been crushed in standard conditions,
no doubt. But other than that, I don't know that it affected it that much. But that's what I'm looking at today. And Jay Johnson, the LSU coach, made mention that the wind actually shifted a couple of times in game yesterday. Maybe that'll happen again today, especially. I think you're going to have two outstanding pitchers today in Anthony Ianson and Jacob Morrison. But maybe you'll see more balls in play where that could factor in a little bit more. But I don't know. I think in terms of the heat, honestly, it's going to be probably tougher for the fans. If you're out there in the outfield roasting and you're just sitting there kind of squinting into the sun, like you got to be taking care of yourself and prepared and hardcore and all the rest.
Yeah, but it's probably good for your pocketbook too, because I don't think you're going to be having too many beers out in those stands.
A lot of Dippin' Dots and bottled water, probably.
A lot of Ted and Wally's ice cream.
A lot of Ted and Wally's ice cream
to keep you cool. So a couple of days ago was the 50th anniversary of Jaws.
Yes. I love Jaws.
And one of the most famous lines in not only the movie, but in movie history is, we are going to need a bigger boat.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Nebraska football schedule. Is there a shark out there that you may not think is that big, but you're going to play them and you're going to be like, we're going to need a bigger boat.
That's good. First of all, that's a fantastic movie. I could rewatch that movie anytime.
Underrated opponent is the long.
Yeah, I mean, I think
question again.
I think Cincinnati.
Yeah. Cincinnati. Wow,
I'm gonna just right out of the boat. Like that's a program that in the last 4 or 5 years, unquestionably, has had more success than Nebraska football. They've been to a CFP. I know their program's changed over a lot, and Luke Fickell's coaching Wisconsin now. But you kind of hear a little bit from their camp over the summer, and I think they feel like they have something to prove. And Nebraska turned over a lot of its roster, and so whatever it ends up being in October, November, it's probably going to look a little different than what it's going to be in late August.
Good point.
In an NFL stadium. So I think that's a game, if you're Nebraska, obviously you want to win, you want to get ahead. You don't want that thing to be tense or uncomfortable. But, yeah, I mean, if you get to halftime and it's a one-score game and your offense maybe isn't quite doing what you thought it might.
Good Lord.
Or you have a turnover and you kind of look at each other, I could see people saying, all right, maybe we need to expand the deck.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the one that comes to mind.
Excellent work. I think, and Evan Bland joining us. I think, Evan, it was on, and now I'm going to ask a football question, I guess, too, on one of the recent Pick Six pods, but Sam mentioned that you guys talked about it, like, get off to a good start, because if not, like, we know what happens to home games at Nebraska when they get off to slow starts, and that is going to be, I mean, it's the unofficial, 8th home game that they're going to have on the schedule this year. And so I wonder how that works for them. If they got off to a good start, it's going to do wonders. Arrowhead's going to be popping. But what if the scenario you laid out happens? I do wonder what kind of vibe is inside of Arrowhead Stadium in August.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone who's been to a Nebraska game, you just kind of know that moment, like when things aren't going well, and you can just kind of feel the angst and hear the mutters and the murmurs, and then the crowd maybe kind of tries to clap and get you back into it, like they're just trying to will you
back
forward
into the
in
game,
that way.
Sure.
But like if you can feel that, the players, the coaches, they can feel that kind of nervous energy, that anxiety that goes into that, and the atmosphere is going to be unbelievable. It's going to be a late game. The parking lot around Arrowhead is going to be conducive for probably the biggest Nebraska tailgate experience that they've had in really recent memory. I mean, it's not going to be segmented. Everyone's going to be there. You've got the NFL stadium aspect, the season opener.
Sure,
it's going to be a ton of fun. But with those amped up emotions, I think comes that tendency to maybe overreact a little bit more. Like, you're going to have spent the whole offseason talking yourself into why Nebraska can go 10-2.
Sure.
And if it's a one-score game at halftime or whatever,
oh my gosh,
the fans feel that. I think the players can feel that. Maybe that'll be the first sort of inclination or clue that we get to how this team can respond to these tough moments, because obviously it hasn't gone well in the past.
And I think that coaching staff has done a good job at not fueling the fire of those maybe unrealistic expectations. But, one of the greatest philosophers of our time is Yoda. And he says when he sees Luke, when he's training Luke, he goes, fear leads to hate. Hate leads to anger. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Is there anything on this Nebraska football team that might have a negative trickle-down effect, in your opinion, where it could, lead to, this is not a good situation that we currently have here?
So you're saying no fear of failure?
Yes.
Oh no, not again.
That's what you want to bring up is no fear of failure.
Put it on a shirt.
That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want to bring
Interesting.
up. Is there though a part of this team where you're like, man, they gotta figure it out, or this could lead to maybe things going away that maybe we didn't anticipate it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the position group that I look at that probably is the prove it group is the defensive line.
Yeah.
And you just say, man, what they lost with Ty Robinson and Nash Huntmaker and
Sure.
Jamari Butler, you can go down the list. They have some good players there, but they haven't been asked to perform at the quantity or the quality that they're going to have to if Nebraska wants to even stay on par with what it did in terms of stopping the run. So, worst case, I mean, you look back a couple months in and maybe the offense is looking good, but if the defense can't stop the run, if it's 3rd and 3 and you have no faith that you can, stop or prevent the opponent from picking that up without doing something different defensively, then I think things could look a lot different in that regard. Riley Van Poppel, I think could be a star. I think he's on the Ty Robinson path very much as a leader, physically, all the things that go into that. William Winery is fascinating to me for what he can be, and a number of other guys too. But yeah, I think that's the spot that I look at and say, if things were to come unraveled to a degree that you wouldn't expect, to me it starts with, man, if they can't stop the run, a lot of that other stuff sort of becomes moot.
Wow, what a great interview. At least I enjoyed it. Hopefully Evan did as well. It's Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, omaha.com, huskerextra.com. He'll have coverage of tonight's game, if necessary, tomorrow. And then, kind of like Matt with his movies, we're all turning our attention to the football season, which is now barely 2 months away. Evan, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the baseball.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
That is Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, and a reminder that the 1620 The Zone Hydration sponsor is Coke Zero Sugar. It's Coke Zero Sugar, the best Coke ever. Take a taste and come by the Zone booth at the bullpen inside of the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win a 1620 The Zone prize pack of KC Royals Porch tickets and ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's 13th and Mike
We
Fahey.
have breaking news.
We'll get to that when we return. Right. We got odd news as well as we wrap up hour number 2. We are on for another 90 minutes ahead of LSU and Coastal Carolina. If the Tigers win, they are the 2025 national champions. If Coastal wins, we're playing another game tomorrow. Find out why Matt keeps saying wow over and over when we return. Finish up the 11 o'clock hour here on 1620 The Zone.
Sports Flash. Time for an unsportsmanlike conduct Sports Flash update. Sports Flash. From the Sports Flash Sports Desk.
This hour is presented by Nebraska Medicine Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Centers. Get a second opinion at nebraskamed.com/cancer. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Kevin Durant is getting traded from the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, interesting deal.
Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick in the 2025 draft, and 5 second-round picks is what Houston will give to the Suns. And the Suns what they'll give to the Rockets, and the Rockets will get Kevin Durant. How do we feel?
I like it.
You like it for?
Both
sides.
I think Jalen Green and Devin Booker, that'll be a very interesting mix. I don't know if it's going to work, but we are in the age of shot creation.
Yeah.
Like, the more shot creators you can get, the better off you're going to be. And so if those two guys can find a way to coexist, I think it'll be great. Then you get the number 10 overall pick. You try and build a little bit of a future. I think Dylan Brooks is how do I put it? He's a clown, but at the same time, he's a championship-type player.
He's a championship clown.
Like, yeah.
Here comes the clown.
Like, we say a lot of things about Draymond Green, but Draymond Green plays the game in a way where it helps his team win championships.
Oh, of course,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
There are just certain guys where it's like, you watch him play, like you watch Zach LaVine play, you're like, he's good at basketball. But
he's not a championship type guy. I know what you mean.
But, like, you watch Alex Caruso, and you're like, all right, he's definitely not as good as Zach LaVine is from a skill perspective, but I think you're probably better off winning championships with Caruso on your roster because he does all that little stuff that you need to be done. So I think with, like, Dylan Brooks, it's kind of the same deal where he does things that would affect championship games. It's because he's kind of a clown in doing it. And also, too, though, you have to be on a roster that's able to, like, win championships to show that pedigree. He hasn't.
What do you think about for the Rockets and Kevin Durant?
Cool. You know?
It's kind of how I feel about it, man. Like, he's going to turn 37 in September.
So,
and he's been very injury prone since the series we talked about earlier, since the Raptors-Warriors one, and that was in 2019.
And, man, I always think about what if he didn't have his toe on the line.
I know. With the Nets.
That is one of
They win that series.
Yeah, and they might win the title.
They might win the title.
They very much might win the title.
And instead, the Nets situation blows up super fast.
That is one of the biggest what-ifs in my
Dude,
in NBA history.
If you replay Kevin Durant's career 10 times, I wonder if this is the worst version of it. You know, like
the darkest timeline.
It really, and like that's wild because it's like it can't be the worst. Josh, you won 2 titles, and it's like, yeah, that's fair, but man, he was the greatest scoring forward maybe ever for a while. You know
what is the timeline, right? So they burst onto the scene.
He comes into the NBA
2012, right?
Who?
So around 2010 is when it's like Kevin Durant.
They're the next team. They make the finals in 2012.
And 2012.
And they trade away hard in that offseason, too, of all teams, the Rockets.
And then
they're good, but he gets hurt at one time. Russell Westbrook gets hurt another time.
So then in 2016, they have a 3-1 lead, and that is like against the 73-9 state team. And you're like, all right, this could be it. And they might end up winning the NBA championship.
They very well could have against the Cavaliers. And then he goes to the Warriors. He wins 2 titles.
And he's the best player in the world, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
He averaged like 36 points a game in the finals.
He is absolutely he stole that 2017 Game 3.
Oh, yeah.
Where he just steals that game.
Yeah, he steals the Cavs' soul.
He just takes that game, and that was the series.
Yep.
Just him making those shots. And I remember I was in Elmhurst College. I was watching that game at a camp, and he makes those threes, and everyone's like, oh, my God. We got to continue this conversation.
We will. Special thanks to KRT Athletic Muscle Cream, providing increased performance to people who suffer from muscle fatigue and cramps, and by Cross Train Brewing, Nebraska fresh and always evolving. The special edition Zone Hotline is powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. 402-951-1620. Hour 3, we'll have odd news at the end of the hour coming up next on 1620 The Zone. Josh Peterson and Matt McMaster with you at the Omaha Baseball Village, where we implore you to come by the Zone booth inside of the OBV for some chewy granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery.
They're great.
Sunbelt Bakery chewy granola bars, tastiest flavors under the sun. And stop by the Zone booth inside of the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. Ted and Wally's official ice cream of 1620 The Zone, celebrating more than 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson in the Old Market, Omaha. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster. We got Josh Hudson here. We got Jake Janicek back in our 1620 The Zone studio. We have just over an hour left. We'll be on until 1:15. Then we'll go upstairs. Kevin Kugler, Scott Graham, and Connor Happer down on the field. Talking into a microphone and hopefully not bursting into fire today because he'll be outside. I said hopefully not.
Oh, my God.
Hopefully not.
Were people bursting into fire yesterday?
They could today. It's going to be toasty.
It's going to be hot.
As I say, toasty-woasty. It's going to be toasty-woasty outside.
Is that what you say? Is
so I say to Banks,
is that,
Mr. Banks, is it toasty-woasty outside?
Mr. Banks looked like he was having the time of his life yesterday on your Instagram.
When he was laying on the outside?
That guy must live a good life.
Dude, Banks, there's this video, this meme, as people will call it.
Matt Rule would call it.
Yes, as he would call it. So on White Lotus this year,
okay.
Let me cook. The mom character said something about how their family, no one has ever had it better than them in this exact moment. They're rich.
Sure.
We live in a society with air conditioning, all these things. Well, somebody turned it into a meme about dogs with millennial owners, which is what we are.
Sure.
We are millennial dog parents. Yes, you're a Gen Z dog parent someday. Millennial dog parents are the best because we love on our dog. We have 0 children. What do they call it? 2 income, no kids? That's a thing. What 2 income? Dink. That's what it is. Dual income. Thank you. Dual income, no children. That is us. We are dual income, no kids, and we're not going to have any kids. And so we spoil Banks. Mr. Banks is very spoiled. Yesterday, I give this dog a bath, and then he wants to shake and stuff.
Sure.
It's like, fine.
Shake,
we go outside. What does he do? Rolls around in the grass. Banks, they just gave you a bath. Dude, he smelled so good last night, and his fur was so soft. Shout out to Mr. Banks.
What's his first name if he's Mr. Banks?
Banks.
But
we call him Mr. Banks
that's
sometimes.
That's not
Mr.
how,
Banks.
That's not how that works.
No,
if he's Mr. Banks.
Mr. Banks is just,
would be his last
name. It's like how I would call you. No, his last name is Peterson. It's like how I would call you.
He's Banks Peterson?
Mr. Matt. He's Banks Peterson.
Okay, is he?
He helped me propose. When I proposed in the card, it said, because it was a card from Banks.
Sure.
He helped me propose.
What's his
he
middle
said, can
name?
I be, okay, would you stop it?
What's his middle name?
Cutie Patootie.
Banks Sean Lee Peterson?
It's definitely not Sean Lee.
Banks DeMarcus Ware Peterson?
She wouldn't allow him to be associated with the Dallas Cowboys.
Banks Zach Martin Peterson?
No, she'd probably want it to be Banks Jalen Hurts Peterson. Something like that, I think is what
Banks,
she wants.
Banks
Nick Sirianni. One of those. Banks Sirianni Peterson.
Banks Nate Gary Peterson?
Oh, God, I don't even think she likes Nate Gary.
Is Nate Gary the Chris Connie of the Philadelphia Eagles?
I was going to say, is Nate Gary the Corey McEwen of that era of Nebraska football? That's a fun project. Find the players that the fans hated at Nebraska.
Well,
Topic
someone
alert.
did that. Somebody did that with the whole, I don't know, one of these random Twitter accounts. There are so many Husker Twitter accounts.
There are so many. There's like a Husker Army. What if it was like Husker military?
Here's my thing. Like, I have to be careful of making fun of some of these Husker Twitter accounts.
But
no, I have to be careful because they have more followers than I do.
Is that true?
Oh my God! Some of these accounts that are just random Husker.
You're allowed to make fun of people with more followers. I make fun of Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, but I don't want. I make fun of Stephen A. Smith.
He has like
all
millions
the time.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That's because their followers agree with him. I know that these Husker armies. I don't want to start beef with people on Twitter.
That's fair.
It's just not worth it.
I would say that.
Like, it's just not, like, I argue all day.
Yeah, sure. And you know what you don't get paid to do? Argue on Twitter.
Exactly.
And I learned that a handful of years ago. I was like, you know what? I don't need to go home after doing a radio show and then argue more.
If you look at my tweets, if you go through my tweets, there's not a lot of negativity in my tweets. There's a lot of negativity.
Positive boy.
There's not, well, in my words, if you listen to the radio, I'm a very
hater boy.
Well, a little bit, yeah.
Negative boy.
But if you look at my Twitter, it's just like I don't have the time nor the energy nor the patience to really go at it with people on Twitter.
Shout out to you. I didn't learn that until I was much older than you. I was in my 30s when I stopped arguing with people.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Jack Mitchell's almost 50, and he'll never stop.
I learned young, though, because I would go at it with White Sox fans back in 2016.
Oh, that sounds dumb.
2016.
You were like, what, 15?
I was 15.
Good
2016
Lord.
and 2017, the Cubs were on the rise. Well, I mean, they won a title.
People forget.
And the Sox, though, had just traded Chris Sale, just traded Adam Eden, traded away all these guys, and they got 7 top 100 prospects.
Cool.
So while the Cubs were winning, the Sox fans were like, "Oh, we don't care. You're winning all these games. We're coming. We're coming. We're going to be better."
How'd that work out for them?
Oh, it worked out terribly. But but it would even go it would be 2017, and Chris Bryant's contract was up in 5 years, and they'd be like, "He's not going to resign. He's not going to resign. You're going to have to trade him." They were the worst. So I would get in these massive drag-out brawls on Twitter.
That sounds stupid.
With White Sox fans over the future. And I learned then and there, not worth it. Not worth it. So I don't argue with people on Twitter. Do you know who does argue with people on Twitter all the time?
Who?
Kevin Durant.
Yes, he does.
He is a A1, P1 Twitter arguer.
If you missed it, Kevin Durant traded to the Houston Rockets, which was on the short list of the teams that said he wanted to go to. It seemed like that was going to work out the best given that they had all the pieces. My wife, she texted me during the break and said, "I feel like Houston got fleeced."
No, I disagree.
That's a lot of
with that.
players to give
They
up.
were the 2
For
seed
an
this year.
injury-prone elder millennial.
But if you look at the roster, they do have a lot of young talent on
the
that
Rockets?
roster.
Yeah, still.
Amen Thompson is going to be really good.
They have a
still
really good coach.
Jabari Smith Jr. They do have a really good coach.
Remember when the Celtics got rid of him and then nothing matters and he became the coach of the Rockets months later?
And then I think so, too, with the whole, they got a veteran closer who's won titles before, and they traded him for maybe a younger player where you're like, all right, he could be good, but we don't know. You don't know if Jalen Green can be a champion. You know that Kevin Durant can be a champion.
You know that he could be. He was, but dude, that was 8 years ago.
So let's talk about this because I love your question and I hate your question.
Which question?
Is this the worst version of Kevin Durant?
Oh, his career. Yeah,
because I love your question because it's a good one. And
Thank you.
There are some valid arguments, but it's also everything I hate about our discourse with the NBA because it's inherently just.
Are you saying I'm Stephen A. of 60-20?
It's a little bit of a Stephen A. question.
No, it's more to say his career has been so wonky.
Let's break down his career, right? So you go to Oklahoma City and they just ran into teams that were better than them.
Yeah.
Okay, they just ran into
But he
teams
also
that
had
were
some
better
injuries.
built. And
Didn't he mess up his foot?
He tore his ACL. He broke his leg.
I thought it was his foot.
He broke his leg. It was his foot. You're right. And
then that was the
later.
Golden State one.
So then you go ahead and they ran into better teams when he was in Oklahoma City and they lost to them. No shame in that.
Sprained his left big toe.
No, he was out for a full season when he was with the Thunder, basically.
I'll find it.
And he broke his leg.
All right.
So anyway, they lose to better teams. Then he goes to Golden State. He's incredible at Golden State. He's the best player in the world. But we immediately discredit him because he joined an already championship roster, built team. Then
surgically repaired his right foot.
He tears his Achilles. That messes things up.
And that completely alters everything. He was already going to leave.
But then he also just decided to
He
play.
hitched his wagon to Kyrie Irving.
But that's the problem. So he decided to bet the rest of his career on guys he shouldn't have bet the rest of his career on.
Guy thinks the earth is flat.
He should have known that Kyrie Irving, he shouldn't have trusted him as far as he could throw him. Same with James Harden.
Bad.
Okay?
Bad.
They were not good. Kevin Durant picked the wrong guys.
And yet.
To try, and that is his fault. And then he got traded to
the
Phoenix,
Suns.
And then the Suns just decided we're going to go and get Bradley Beal too, which was so dumb. They should have tried and used their resources to get more depth because they didn't have players other than the 3 guys that they had, and it didn't work with 3 ball dominant scoring dudes. I think he'll have a chance to win a title in Houston. I think he'll have an opportunity.
Certainly not as the best player on the team.
I don't know, man. He's still pretty damn good.
I don't think he is.
He's still pretty damn good. He's still putting up really good numbers. We just kind of didn't recognize it and realize it because he was in Phoenix, and Phoenix was so bad and they weren't a contender. I think he'll have a shot to win a title. I don't think this is obviously this isn't a long-term thing. This is his last shot to win a title. Sengun is a good player. Van Vliet's a good player. Steven Adams is on that team. You have these, other young pieces on that roster. I think it works. I think it meshes. I think it fits. I think they could win.
I just saw a tweet. So NBA Central said Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Bradley Beal, very interesting. Eye emoji. And then one of my favorite Twitter handles is @Knicks_tape99. Said very interesting 28-win team.
I mean, it kind of is,
Yeah, congrats.
Like,
poor Jacob
and
Padilla.
they
were so close to winning a
They
title.
got Reed Shepherd on that Rockets team, too, which is interesting because he's a nice space-out shooter.
And they do have a good coach, as we talked about.
They got him, Ime Udoka. Yeah, man, we're going to look back. There are plenty of teams, I think, in this era, these last 10 years of NBA basketball, and we're going to be like, what happened? Like, we're going to look back on the 2020 Lakers and be like, how could they have, like, even gotten back to the finals? And
they never even got back. Well, I guess they made it to the second. Well, they made it last year to the Western Conference Finals.
And that was those
I know what you mean,
seasons. Those seasons were followed up by being, like, in the play-in and being, like, a 7 seed.
I remember that next year the Lakers lost. They were in the play-in, then they lost to the Suns. They just got, you know, and that was the Suns season.
Well,
to the
that
NBA
was
Finals.
a really good series, and the Suns just beat them.
And the same thing happened when they played the Nuggets team that won the finals, right? Where all the games were close.
I think Anthony Davis, I don't know if he got hurt, but he was not good at
that was series. When he got bullied into playing in a game because all the media was like, you're soft.
With that, and then Jay Crowder, like, just dominated Anthony Davis in that series, which was wild to watch.
Yeah.
But you'll look at the Suns and be like, how didn't they get back? Because they had that young core, but then there was some internal problems with they didn't like DeAndre Ayton, which, by the way, we have totally forgotten that guy exists, by the way. But then look at the Denver Nuggets. Like, Jamal Murray has not been the same player since they won that title, which is part of the reason they haven't been able to get back.
Folks.
And then, like, man, that Warriors title in 2022 is just such a weird title now to look back upon because you're like, that was out of nowhere. And you were at the moment where you're like, all right, maybe like Jordan Poole could be like the next guy to take over for this franchise. And then he got knocked out by Draymond Green, which totally derailed that. It's been a weird couple of years in the NBA.
And then on top of that, going into tonight, we know that the winner of this will mean another either first-time champ, first of all. Don't give me any Sonic stuff. But then the other thing is it is a singular champ for the seventh year in a row.
We are in the 70s era of basketball.
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That is going to be 7 different champions no matter what happens. We have never seen this before.
Well, because we did have like 80, 81, 82 was you switch off between Celtics, Lakers. 83, then you had the 76ers, and then you went back Celtics.
And then it goes Celtics, Lakers, Lakers, Pistons, Bulls, Rockets, Bulls.
Look at that pattern, though, of like
Lakers, Lakers.
It literally went Lakers, Pistons, like you all said, and then you got the 3 on the Lakers on the other side. I always say, so I can name every, and I think you can do the same.
I can go back to the 70s.
I can go back to the 80s. And it really is just like find the dynasties and then throw in the Spurs.
It really is.
Like when in doubt,
and then
the Spurs
and then a few
won.
Piston seasons here and there.
But it's like,
but you know what was different about that era is so the 80s, the Lakers or the Celtics were in every NBA Finals the whole decade. Every NBA Finals had at least one of those teams. The Lakers made it and won in 1980. The Celtics made it and won in 1981. The Lakers made it and won in 82. I think the Lakers lost to the Sixers in 83.
The other thing too, like the only thing we have close to that is in the 2010s, every series had LeBron.
Yes, where you had an 8-year stretch where he was always in the finals.
Wild.
Yeah, until you had to go all the way
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Not 19. Not 19.
Not 19. Good
not
point.
19. Yeah, and so he missed it in 2010 because that was the weird year where they lost to the Celtics in the second round of the playoffs, and then he missed it in 19 when he was hurt in his first year with the Lakers. Otherwise, he made it every year, and then he got back in 20.
And then he made it. I forget he makes it in 2009.
7. Yeah.
Wait, 9 they lost to the Magic.
And the Magic lost to the Lakers.
7
but he hit that shot in game 2.
Which was probably his best moment, his best playoff moment until the block.
That's a fun topic.
Singular moment.
It's either that singular moment, because the thing that I was going to say was
Game 7 in 2013.
I was going to say Game 6 against the Celtics in 2012.
Oh, God.
Remember, he goes into Boston. He puts up 40-something.
I'm not even a right shoulder bump fade guy.
Nice. Well, I've never heard anyone say that exact sentence.
LeBron James.
Yeah, I don't remember that quote. That's a nice quote.
It was when he was doing the podcast. Remember when they used to do like the shop? It was the barber shop.
Yes.
He was like, back in 2016, I was just trying stuff out there. I was like, fade away off my wrong foot, right shoulder bump fade. I'm not even a right shoulder bump fade kind of guy. That's an exact quote that he had there.
I don't think anybody has ever been a right shoulder fade kind of guy.
Al Jefferson. Al Jefferson was pretty good at that. Shout out Al Jefferson with Charlotte back in like 2015. That guy was a bucket. People forget a lot about Greg Monroe.
Yeah. Nobody ever talks about him. I was going to say the Pearl, but that's Earl.
Greg Monroe, back in the Pistons days, back in those 2010s Pistons, he was a really good player. Remember Blake Griffin was on that Pistons team and made an All-NBA team?
Blake Griffin. Talk about a guy whose career just went.
No. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Probably, because everybody's a Hall of Famer in this.
Is he a baseball Hall of Famer?
What?
See, everybody always gets Josh Odson has heard me say this over and over again. The Baseball Hall of Fame is the hardest Hall of Fame to get in.
Yeah, nobody gets in it.
Okay. So if you were to use Baseball Hall of Fame rules to basketball,
there would be
Griffin.
No, definitely not. But he's a basketball Hall of Famer. No, why would Blake Griffin be in the Hall of Fame?
I mean,
he was fun. All right, you get that. We got to go to break. Come by the Zone booth at the bullpen inside of the Omaha Baseball Village. Register to win a 1620 The Zone prize pack of KC Royals porch tickets and ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's. 13th and Mike Fahey. We got a lot of texts that we can get to. Another funny tweet about the NBA.
He was a 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA.
5-time what All-NBA?
Oh, what team specifically?
Yes.
I wouldn't know.
All right, well, we'll give you that research. We got some text to read, including names for Mr. Banks that we can get to when we return as well. And some other stuff, as we have now an hour left. The show's almost done. We haven't talked like any Husker football today.
Thomas Banks Peterson.
Thomas? Like Fedoni? Is
Oh,
Banks going to shush me? Banks, you better not shush me, bruh. All right, we'll come back. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster.
You better not get drafted by the Giants, Mr. Banks.
Oh, dude, I'd be triggered. Riss would be triggered. We don't want him going there. It's a bad franchise.
Can't stand the Giants.
We'll continue to roll on when we return from the Omaha Baseball Village, special edition of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Special thanks to KRT Athletic Muscle Cream, providing increased performance to people who suffer from muscle fatigue and cramps, and by Cross Train Brewing, Nebraska Fresh and always evolving. Let us go to our special edition Zone Hotline powered by the Sedora Law Group. Your outcome depends on what you do next. 402-951-1620. Couple of name ideas for Mr. Banks. Happer's Mean Guy texts in Banks Shady McCoy Peterson. Don't like that.
No.
I don't even think she'd like that.
No.
He did have that fun snow game. What do we think of this one?
Wouldn't it be LaShawn Banks?
LaShawn Banks?
Yeah.
No, his first name is Banks. We just call him Mr. Banks.
I'm saying if it was Mr. Banks, right, he should have a first name. Took a picture with that guy yesterday.
You can be Mr. First name. You can be Mr. Matt.
No, I don't want to be Mr. Matt.
Well, you're Mr. Matt in my book now. Text from the 402, Banks, Chuck, Knobloch, Peterson. What are we saying? That Banks has the yips? What's going on here? You know who Chuck Knobloch is?
Yeah.
He played baseball.
I was about to say Banks, Bill, Buckner, Peterson.
Wow. You're going to say behind the bag, it gets through Banks. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
That's a great call.
It is a great call. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner.
No.
Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. Game 6, 1986.
I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, me neither. Jordan texts in. If we get to a game 3, have we checked the weather forecast for tomorrow?
Hot.
Me, no likey. Matt, it's not that we're worried about
Oh,
heat.
no. Oh, no. Josh Hodson's making a face. Rain.
We're worried about, at night, thunderstorms.
Oh, no.
Not good.
Not great.
Well,
good, guys.
Hey, can I be honest with you?
You don't care.
I
Yeah.
don't give a
Matt
damn.
says, doesn't bother me.
Let me tell you something right now. I've been working all these days.
Yep.
That's your problem, my man.
Yeah.
That's a you and Bishop problem.
It's not like as long as the game starts, we're fine. So we would need the game to start. That's why.
But then what if you come back the next day? You would have to come back the next day and do the game.
Maybe.
here.
So a couple of years, well, not a couple of years ago, when Coastal won the championship in 2016, the championship got delayed.
Okay.
And so they, I believe, had either torn us down or like the OBV was like done.
Yeah.
So Nick Baugh and I, shout out Nick Baugh, Game Time with Nick Baugh, RIP. Him and I did the show from the station.
Oh, wow.
Because the game was actually in the afternoon
So I was
on whatever
say,
day that
will
was.
all these tents be down? Like, is this tomorrow?
It's pretty much about to be go time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so we might not be able to be down here if it gets. So that's why I'm ready to make a statement. I'm rooting for the Tigers.
Really?
I'm rooting for the Tigers. Pro LSU. I don't want weather to get in the way.
Chanticleers is who I'm rooting
Yeah, but
for.
again, it doesn't affect you. What were you going to say,
Coastal
Josh?
Carolina.
I was going to say, pro tip, if you're coming down to the Village today, everything might not have been the price that it was last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, this is a lot of stuff they got to pack, and they don't want to pack it.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
Indeed.
I might take a lap.
Go Tigers.
My voice is gone.
Yeah.
I'm officially
You need
dead.
a little throat coat again.
I literally got the type of cough drops that you have to show your ID to get.
Oh, wow, because they get you hammered?
Well, you can. I think you can make a little drink, with them.
Oh,
If I'm not mistaken.
Shout out Lil Wayne.
There you go.
what drink is this? Is this when he was sipping on the scissor?
This is This is the perp, if you will.
Okay.
The lean with it, rock with it. If
I
you
have
will.
never gotten inebriated off of cough syrup.
Neither, and I don't plan on doing that.
Okay, good.
It sounds like a terrible idea.
It really does.
I just get it.
Your mouth feels gross.
I get it from my throat because
Beer exists.
Yeah,
Beer.
but costs a lot of money, man.
Shout out
I was
Odson.
having-
I loved this tweet from Rob Perez on Twitter.
Read it.
Game
Not in
7.
its entirety.
Worldwide Wob.
Worldwide Wob. Game 7 of the NBA Finals tonight, and the entire day / pregame show
Go
is going to
Tigers.
be spent discussing a blockbuster trade. Pull this bleep during the Super Bowl, and Roger Goodell would exile you like Napoleon. Super Bowl Sunday, you're not allowed to talk about any moves.
Isn't it great? Well, first off, the Indiana Pacers made a trade while they were in the finals. They traded to get their first round pick back. Secondly, so now this is 2 games in a row. Game 6 and Game 7, where something happening in the NBA is arguably a bigger story than the game going on.
That is impossible. The game is the big. You do the things
They
to do
talked
this.
more about the Lakers being sold to Mark Walters, Northwestern alumni, than they did the game.
Well, did you
breaking down
see?
the game because they thought the Thunder were just going to win the game easily?
Did you listen or watch any of the Bill Simmons post game
No,
6 pod with Zach Lowe? So he brought up, he was like, "Hey, do you want to talk about the Lakers?" And Zach said, "Can we spend 10 more minutes on the NBA Finals first?" Like, it was pretty funny. He was spicy.
Zach, oh my God, had a great take the other day when he was talking about the intros, where he just broke it down perfectly. He was like, I want to see where the guys are sitting. I want to see the guys who are fidgety. I want to see the guys who are locked in. I want to see the ones who do the high fives. I want to see the ones who walk out before their name is even called. I want to see to see it all. I'm like, couldn't agree more.
Tough look on the pod this week. Nice. Tough look on the pod this week for Howard Beck, who said he was basically sad about the NBA Finals going to a Game 7 because now he has to travel again instead of going home. It's like, dude, you want to know why people hate media members? It's because you're crying about going to a Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
What up, Beck?
What up, Beck? I do like what up, Beck. That's a tough look for Howard.
God,
but it's in Oklahoma City. Why couldn't it have been in L.A. or Miami or New York? I could have bing-bonged.
It's been a bad, month for media in general and the likability of some media.
Talking about Stephen A.
Well, now, do you see what he's trying to get his daughter now into, and I knew it immediately.
Oh, yeah.
When he brought her on on the court thing, when he brought her on the court and she started talking, I go, oh my God, they're going to start shoving. There are going to be enough people and be like, oh my God, she's so funny, she's so talented. And then,
wow.
And then it happened where I saw more and more and more of her, and I'm like, this is what he's doing now. He's
Matt out on women.
No.
Matt, is this true?
I'm out on pure, blatant, and thrown-in-your-face nepotism, okay? This is the most blatant nepotism I've ever seen in my entire life.
So it's not
she just gets brought on. Okay, I'm not trying to be a hater here. But does she have a broadcasting degree? Did she go and
did she go to the
study?
University of Nebraska?
But I'm not trying to gatekeep here. I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper. But at the same time, it is a little ridiculous that there are a lot of people who have worked their entire lives to be on that camera and be on that stage and be able to have that platform. And then, he just gets brought on.
Josh is looking to see if his daughter has a broadcasting degree.
I don't know really how to look that up.
I'll read this text real quick.
I want to redact that statement. I'm not trying to gatekeep. I'm not trying to say you can't be a good broadcaster. No, this is just all it is just pure and blatant nepotism. And I wish, it's
during the NBA Finals.
It's during the NBA Finals. And yes, and let's be
whole broadcast is garbage
here. Oh, it's been terrible. And it's also too, the whole man, women in sport. It's incredible. We need more. Here's the thing. It's a good thing that it's happening.
Diversity is important.
Yes, and having women in sport is great. We need to put the women in sport who are the most qualified to be there, who've worked their way to be there, who have done what it needs, who have studied and done what they've needed to do and gone through the bumps and learned who they are as a broadcaster in order to be on that stage. And so we continue to put, more women in sport. Not Stephen A. Smith's daughter who just got pulled off the sideline and now they're gonna be look, we have more women in sport. I'm just saying. Matt McMaster, not for nepotism.
There you go. Anything over there, Josh?
I mean,
I just take a break?
I just found out her name, so it might take a while.
All right. Well, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We still have odd news to get to at the end of the hour. We're on for 45 more minutes as we get you ready for pregame coverage.
Yes.
Kevin Kugler, Scott Graham, Connor Happer on the call for this one. Happer down on the field. Game 2 of the 2025 Men's College World Series, the 75th iteration of this event in Omaha, Nebraska. Will a champion be crowned today? We'll find out in about an hour when first pitch happens. Josh Peterson, Matt McMaster, Josh Hodson with Jake Janicek back in our 1620 The Zone studio here on 1620 The Zone. Come by the Zone booth inside of the Omaha Baseball Village for some chewy granola bars from Sunbelt Bakery. Sunbelt Bakery, chewy granola bars, tastiest flavors under the sun. Jordan texts in, is Stephen A. and his daughter the Iowa Athletic Department of Sports Media? Many are asking.
I don't know. I just feel like this is marshy waters sometimes talking about those topics. But I just don't. Here it is. I don't like nepotism. And this is clear nepotism.
All right, I got a marshy topic for you.
Sure.
Let's wade on into it. You're a youth.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Matt Rule photos. Do youths think those are cool? Is that going to help Nebraska's recruiting that Matt Rule is sitting on an animal?
Matt Rule's a mushroom.
What does that mean?
He's a fun guy.
He wasn't paying attention. Dang, I wanted to see the look on his face.
That
was interesting.
He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
Like I've talked to him before, like in a personal setting. He's a fun dude.
Not to brag.
No, I know. I mean, we all have. A lot of people have.
I haven't.
Like he's just a normal. It's very easy for him to just talk like a normal guy, like a normal human being, and just relate to people. And which is why he's such a good recruiter, and which is why he's a good culture builder because he's just very relatable. But he's also incredibly smart. Right, and is a good leader and knows how to organize people. So yeah, I think he knows what he's doing.
When I
knows this is fun.
So when I was your age, and a tiny bit older is when I was talking on 1620 The Zone a lot, and so I was the kind of avatar for the younger fan, right? Yeah. Where it was like, hey Josh, why do people your age like the Oregon Ducks uniforms? Like I don't know, because we do. Like that was like the recruiting thing back then, and I remember just thinking like, you just don't get it. Older people, this is what you do in recruiting. These are the things. And now I've definitely crossed over the Rubicon because I look at the Matt Rule photos and I'm like, gosh, those are really stupid. But it's not for me.
Yeah, no.
I'm almost 40. It doesn't matter what I think.
But I am an older soul, and so I play both sides here. I'm playing both sides.
Classic.
The young part of me is like, they're funny.
They're
funny, man. Like they are sick. Like he's just sitting on a steer.
So wild.
It's just like random and stupid stuff. Like. The stupider you are, like the funnier you are nowadays. Like that's just kind of like the comedy. Like people just.
That's why you're hilarious.
Thank you. So, no, I'm stupid and I'm not funny, which is the worst combo that
I laugh sometimes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So does Josh Hodson. But what I was saying is that, like,
Shout out.
it's funny. He's on a horse or he's on a cow, and he's just taking a picture on a cow, and he's with baby Gronk, a baby that's dumb and it's stupid, but it's
and he
funny.
does the finger point thing.
And it's the finger.
So what does the old soul say?
The old soul says is like, we're going to get clowned if Nebraska loses.
If they lose, it's going to be the dumbest stuff they're going to throw in their face.
And it's going to be
so many memes.
And here's the trickle down effect. It's going to be embarrassing for him, which will be embarrassing for the program.
But you know what? So
when the program is embarrassed,
everybody's
Nebraska fans are embarrassed.
Let me play devil's advocate. If he fails, like who cares about memes, right? Like you're more upset about the team failing than the memes.
But it is annoying. It's very
well.
annoying.
I know that there's been this kind of vibe this offseason of like, God, he's just doing all these things. Like, can't he just like not be in the limelight? I like that he is. I like that he talks a lot because it's good. It gives me something to talk about.
So I can't talk. I can't really talk to this point, but you very much can. I like that people know. You hear Matt Rule, everyone knows he coaches at Nebraska, right? Everybody knows when we talk about Nebraska football, even if you're not a college football fan, you know that, hey, Matt Rule is coaching over there. The coach from Carolina went over there. He's the head coach. Okay. Yep. Was that the case with like Mike Riley and Bill Callahan?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not. And certainly not with Scott Frost or Bo Pelini.
And so I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan that people like, they know immediately. Matt Rule, Nebraska, Matt Rule.
For years, we've been asking Nebraska's coach to be an ambassador for the program in like the best sense. And he is finally doing that. And people are like, could you stop though? Could you just go away for a little bit? But you know what? It all comes back to.
I got to hold my tongue.
We know. No, don't hold your tongue.
I would say actually, yes, hold your tongue because 14 minutes ago on Instagram, Matt Rule posted a photo outside this very baseball stadium.
Oh, because he might be listening right now.
Yeah.
But Matt, we know what this all comes down to. It comes down to the success. If they were through 2 years not 12-13, but let's say they were 19-5, 6. I don't think people would care about this. They'd say this is great. This is actually a total net positive. But because they've gotten out to the start that they have. That's why, like, people are like, yeah.
We are in, and I don't know if you haven't heard me say this, but I said this right after the Pinstripe Bowl, right? We are in a new era of the Matt Rule era, right? If there was chapters of the Matt Rule era, the first chapter was closed after Pinstripe Bowl, in my opinion.
It's chapter 2 now?
Chapter 2. And I call this chapter the execution era. Okay?
Who are they executing?
No, but I mean, like, you have to execute. Like,
Yes.
you have to win. Like, we are in the execution
You and I talked about
era.
this yesterday. This team, and by this team I mean the 2025 Huskers, sets the narrative for the rest of the Rule era.
Oh, my God.
The rest of the era is decided this year. And people say, Josh, that is overreacting. You are wrong. No, I am not. If they have a great year, all bets are off on what's next, and it's going to be great for recruiting. If they have another so-so year, it's going to be hard to get people to really get excited for year 4. If they are bad, then obviously we
if they are good this year, you see the path.
Yeah.
Right? You see the path to, like, all right, here is what the next year could look like and the next couple of years could look like, and this is where we're rolling. And, hey, now we are past the first wave of recruits and players, and now we are in the second wave of, like, these are the next. We haven't, by the way, Nebraska football hasn't been like that since Bo Pelini. Right?
Correct.
Because it's just been one wave.
They've never gotten to leave, even the last 9-win season under Mike Riley. The year ended with them going 2-4, and so it just all the momentum was lost.
Well, I'm just talking about a recruit perspective, right? Where there are, like, different phases of recruits.
Yeah,
right?
They've never been able to do the next thing.
Go to the next.
You're
phase.
always selling on an idea rather than we did it. Now let's go to the next
And
level.
I'll say this: it's good that we are past the chapter of battling through optics and setting the table, because we haven't been there. Nebraska hasn't been there in terms of being able to get past that phase. We are now past that phase where it's like, all right, table is set. You have the talent. You've hired the coaches. You've adapted to this new era of college football. You've been able to use the new era of college football to your advantage. I think they've done a great job of using their money, raising money, spending their money, investing in the program.
Yeah.
Like, everything outside of the field, of the actual sport being played, has been really good. I seriously, like, it's just been really good.
Now they just got to do it on the field.
Now they have to do it on the field.
Bruce says, Rule is there. Go get a good get, Oddson. I don't think we'll be doing that because we only have a half hour left, and when we return, we got to get to the odd news.
We do have to get to the
odd news with Oddson when we return, and we'll finish up the noon hour, and we are almost done ahead of what could be a national championship clincher. LSU up 1-0 on Coastal Carolina. Pregame coverage begins at 1:15 with the first pitch to come a little after 1:30. We'll get the odd news from Josh when we return as we finish up this third hour right here on 1620 The Zone. We are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours by Children's Nebraska. And special thanks to KRT Athletic Muscle Cream, providing increased performance to people who suffer from muscle fatigue and cramps. And by Cross-Train Brewing, Nebraska Fresh and always evolving. It's a Sunday, but that doesn't mean that we don't want Josh Odson to say words. It's time for the Odd News with Josh Odson.
I got words. I got the best words.
You have amazing words. What do you have for us today?
The best words. Nobody's got better words than I do.
We go to New York.
Frankly.
Hey, New York. That guy's from there.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. That's
Is it in my building?
No, this is in a high school where if the website would let me
Oh, my
read
gosh. Go
the
away, ad.
15 sets of twins set to graduate from a single New York high school.
What?
Quote, there's just something in the water.
What?
High school in the burbs
Or
will
the
be
embryos.
seeing double on graduation day. Among the nearly 500 students in the graduating class, 30 are twins at Long Island's Plainview Old Bethpage John F. Kennedy High School. I have an opinion. That's too many words in your school's name.
Plainview Old Bethpage John F. Kennedy High School. It's a bit wordy.
POBJFKHS.
Duh.
So it's Plainview, but it's the old Bethpage, but it's also honored by John F. Kennedy.
Bethpage Black.
That's
It's
right.
almost like it's the Terry Pettit Court in the John Cook Arena at the Bob Devaney Sports Center.
You pretty much nailed it right there.
They're all very comfortable. This article includes some of them are even on a text chain with each other, as if that were a
Group
monumental
chats.
occasion.
Yeah, seriously, they're Gen Z. Of course they're in group text.
How much like do you think some of them are dating each other? Like it's got to be like
That'd be a nice bit.
where it's like, oh guys, it's all funny that we're all twins, and then like they're all just
We should just be dating.
But they're all no, exactly. Like they're all dating different like sets of
Crisscross.
twins, though, right?
That'd be
You
fun.
see, they all have different types. You know,
That'd be a good idea.
None
great idea.
of the twins are identical. They're all fraternal twins.
whoa!
What kind of weird high school is this?
I don't
Okay,
know.
John
now-
F. Kennedy,
wait,
Old
wait,
Bethpage
wait, wait.
Black,
Wait. So
Plainview.
So 1 year at Plainview Old Bethpage John F. Kennedy High School,
Yeah.
it just happened that 15 sets of parents had twins, and they all happened to be fraternal.
Something's in the water.
We need to study this.
Yeah, something's in the water up there, Josh.
Like that is so
We got to get to the other news item.
that is more than a coincidence.
Yeah.
though.
We're
That
going to have
is
to bring
good.
this back for the Happer show tomorrow with Connor Happer.
Really get into the numbers, break
Yeah,
it
yeah.
down.
We need to get a scientist on.
A Colombian dairy company celebrated its 80th anniversary
Okay, good
by
for
gathering nearly 1,200 people to participate in the world's largest cheese tasting.
Yes,
I like cheese.
Yeah, right.
Colombians know how to.
Poll question.
The company took the record from an Australian group which gathered 1,000 people for a cheese tasting in 2019.
Nice.
Colombia, not known for its cheese, but I guess they got some there, right?
I grew up with a lot of Latin people. Colombians were always the best in terms of the partying. They were.
Did he just name a specific type of people the best? So that means that Matt has a list of the types of people that are the worst.
No, that's not true. at all.
Interesting.
No, that's not the inverse. All I'm saying is that
Release the list.
the people. No,
We
stop
need Matt McMaster's rankings of
my
humans.
my least favorite races. At number one has to be the Belmont Stakes.
I see what he did there.
Well done, Matt. Well done.
Thank you.
Police dash cam video has captured officers struggling with a convicted jewel thief in an attempt to keep the man from swallowing stolen Tiffany and Company diamonds.
What?
Worth nearly $750,000.
What?
The footage from a Florida Highway Patrol vehicle was recorded during the February 26th apprehension of Jathan Gilder on I-10, just outside of Orlando. Driving a rented Mitsubishi Outlander, he was pulled over after a be on the lookout was released. They confirmed this is probably the guy we're looking for. And as cops approached the gentleman, he was seen trying to quickly put something in his mouth. By the time they got to him, he was talking without trying to open his mouth.
Oh yeah.
So
So is his goal to swallow them?
I believe so.
Can you imagine that on the exit?
Yeah, but then you get the diamonds.
But those things are
They're sharp.
they're gonna cut your innards up.
It's
Yeah,
diamond.
But then
Diamond famously sharp.
I don't know. Maybe we have you swallow a diamond and we find out.
I swallowed a key one time,
How old were you?
3rd grade. So
Oh, okay.
10,
I swallowed
11, 12, somewhere.
What was that process like?
Yeah.
Had to check the never found it in there, but I figure it made its way through because eventually I did have x-rays for something else, no key in my body. So I must have missed it in the
My perfect crime, I break into Tiffany's. Do I go for the vault? No. I go for the chandelier. It's priceless.
Wow.
It's The Office.
Anything else, Josh?
He refused to take any laxatives at the hospital.
Ouch. That is going to destroy him.
Yeah.
So did it destroy him?
So he must have swallowed something. No, he's alive.
Good for him.
And that's the odd news. Thank you, Josh.
Thank
What's his
you,
name?
Josh.
Jathan?
Yes.
Okay. I've never met a Jathan before.
It made me think of Ethan Kaliakmanis. Does he have
Oh.
a brother named Jathan
Jathan.
Kaliakmanis?
Greeky,
Did you know
freaky.
have we talked about the fact that Travis Hunter has a brother? Have we talked about this?
No, we haven't.
You know what his name is?
Travis. It's Travis?
They added a Y.
Travis and Travis.
Travis and Travis.
Have you seen
Travis and Travis, 1620, the zone.
Jadeveon Clowney has a brother.
What's his name?
Well, it's Damon Clowney, but it's spelled demon.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Demon Clowney.
But it's Damon
They
Clowney.
should have called Davion that.
Isn't
Michigan sure did that one time.
the Oman Miellans,
Prince Will,
Prince Well and Prince Lee?
Yep,
And I
yep.
think they have
another one.
another one.
Prince won't.
I wonder if
Another one.
Nice.
yeah, I know.
All right, time to finish up this hour where the 1620 The Zone Hydration sponsor is Coke Zero Sugar. It's Coke Zero Sugar, the best Coke ever. Take a taste. Come by the Zone booth at the bullpen inside of the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win a 1620 The Zone prize pack. KC Royals porch tickets, ice cream for a year from Ted and Wally's, 13th and Mike Fahey. We'll come back. It's time to say goodbye.
Oh my God,
Dude, this is it for you and me. I won't
This
see
is
you
it.
again until football season.
it'll be months before I ever look you in the eye again.
That's very sad. That's
It
very
is.
sad.
I've had a great time with you, man.
We've had a great time as well. We'll come back. We'll give thank yous. Josh will have some stuff to read to us, and we'll give you our pick for Game 2 of today's game right here on 1620 The Zone. We have moved into the 1 o'clock hour for our final segment of this Sunday, June 22nd, here at the 2025 Men's College World Series. It could be the last day of the baseball season. We're going to have some stuff from Autzen in a moment. Give some thanks out in a little bit as well. I did want to wish my youngest brother, Luke, a happy birthday today.
Whoa, happy birthday, Luke.
Happy birthday, Luke.
Happy birthday, Luke.
He just turned 30 years old.
You are ancient, my man. Your life is over.
He's turning 30.
Whoa.
Yeah, hey, settle down.
Wow.
If 30 means a life is over.
You got to get Luke to the retirement home. You know what I mean,
You know,
guys?
I remember when I was Matt's age, and being 30 seemed like 100, and then being 40 seemed like no, thank you,
impossible.
And my parents were always like, "You're an idiot. When you get older, you don't feel old." And sure enough, I'm almost 40, and I'm like, I'm still young.
You're probably in better shape than I am.
Probably am in better shape. But like, you get older, and everybody else just seems young, and they don't understand life. So, Matt, you'll get there.
Am I stupid? Did you just call me stupid?
No, you just say things, and it's like, he's just so young. I remember being 23 years old.
I think this is the nicest way anyone has ever called me dumb.
No, I don't think you're dumb. I think you're very smart.
Thank you.
We have another shout-out to give on the YouTube stream.
What's up?
This is from Sindelar, friend of the station. Hey, fellas, longtime listener, longtime commenter. Can you make sure to give a goodbye shout-out to the sun? I'm planning on blowing it up this afternoon and just want to have a proper send-off.
Shout out to the sun. It has made its presence known, especially over the last 2 days.
Real look at me, Louie, the sun.
It really is. Oh, I keep you alive.
Has had a hell of a last 2 weeks. It was a high draft pick in the solar system. A lot of people had high hopes for the sun, and man,
it's delivered.
It is delivered.
Yeah.
I mean,
it won't forever, though.
When it came into this league, there were a lot of people saying, like, can it live up to the hype? Can it really get it done? And, man, the sun, it has broken through more so than I think anyone could have ever anticipated before.
But could the Pacers beat the Sun coming up tomorrow on First Take?
I think a lot of people could beat the Suns as they have literally.
They don't
have you seen the Suns roster?
No, I won't be looking at it.
Anytime soon. They have like 4 shooting guards,
but they have some draft picks. They have congrats on your second
round
draft
picks.
You got to love the second round draft picks in the NBA.
Your wife saying that the Rockets got fleeced. It might be the other way around.
You think so?
Yeah. I love it for Houston. I'm not going to pull a Mike Greenberg here and say that the New York Jets are going to win the Super Bowl the day after trading for Aaron Rodgers.
That was bad. They never even made the playoffs.
But
yikes.
But I will say that the Rockets are going to be pretty good. Okay. Maybe the Mixed Sportsbook puts down a future on the Rockets.
Hello. Get out that big sign that you have, your big poster. I can't wait to see the poster.
Oh, Matt's big board?
I
is
like
what
the
you're
big
referring
board.
to? Well, the big board is coming back for football season, baby.
Oh, let's go. We love the big board. You know what else we love? Josh Autzen. And Josh Autzen's great reports. Josh, take it away on what could be the final day of the 2025 men's college baseball season.
Well, we give you the injury report presented by KRT Athletic Muscle Cream. Matt just used some, providing increased performance to people who suffer from muscle fatigue and cramps.
So
well, when your starter pitches a complete game, you got the whole bullpen at your disposal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So LSU looking good.
Everybody's good.
Yeah. Coastal.
Are we all healthy?
Fine. They're
Are we
fine.
healthy?
Yeah. They've been using KRT all week.
That is important. Shout out to the Tigers.
Hey, remember, though, with KRT, when we had our guy, his name was what, David, right, came on? Remember his first name, David, came on? You have to use a lot of this thing, right? You got to
He said, don't do a tiny little dot. Yeah, take a lot of it.
Take a lot of it.
You'll be good to
and
go.
I've been taking his advice. It's been working.
So you took a man-sized swig of KRT.
Well, I took a man-sized swig of, like, summer shandies yesterday, and then I put some KRT on.
Always important.
And your traffic today presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Learn more about parking in advance at parkomaha.com. That might be important if there is a game tomorrow and there are downtown employees.
Yeah.
They're already here.
Like, hey, I got to go to work, but I got to go to the game. So slide in and get that park. Yeah. Watch out for pedestrians as you're headed into the stadium. Usual points of congestion along Cummings Street, getting off of 480 on Cummings Street.
We'll say this. It's been a lot lighter in here than at the heaviest points, and which always happens. The end of the series, it's always a little bit lighter because you're into the second weekend of things.
People in the city are done with it.
Yeah, but there's still busy traffic.
Yeah.
I'm now just thinking about cross-train brewery right now.
You gonna head over there?
I want a Cabana Cruiser.
Well, why don't you? It's just a few.
I am so excited.
Steps away.
I am so excited for what they're having the lime beer come out in January.
You're excited for January?
Yes.
Yikes.
Okay.
Well, the Bears are going to be fighting for a playoff spot, and Nebraska football hopefully will be playing a bowl game early in January. Hoping for maybe man, I don't screw this college football playoff thing. I just want like a New Year's Day or New Year's
guaranteed
bowl.
rate bowl.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind that.
Rate bowl.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Josh.
Traffic and Matt's dreams are presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Learn more about parking in advance at parkomaha.com.
All right, let's give some shout-outs and some thank yous because, again, this could be the last time that we are here. So let's go with the folks back at our Zone Studios who have done great work. So we have had Jake Janicek. He's our producer today. He's done excellent work. We've had Peter Krenzer as well. Mm-hmm. We have had Ben Geezer. Mm-hmm. We have had Jimmy Chavez. And even for but a few moments, our boss, Steve King.
Hey,
so shout out to all the producers that we have had back in our...
Joey, did we thank Joey?
Joey Colbert. I forgot that Joey.
How did you forget Joey Colbert?
I don't remember talking to him.
He did more of the Westwood One side.
Yeah,
he's
Matt McMaster's part-time power rankings. Number 1.
Whoa.
I'm kidding.
Okay, we'll find out off the air. So shout out to all those people who did excellent work. Peter. We could not get any of this done without Josh Hodson. He does. Yeah, you
Stand
know
up.
what?
Stand up.
Let's give it up for Josh Hodson. Let's give it. Okay, no one's clapping for him. Let's give it up for Josh. There we go.
Can we get some claps?
Claps for Josh Hodson.
I'm a network coordinating
He's done
producer.
a great job.
I was here often.
Thank you. Thank you for clapping.
Josh hasn't had a day off, just like Matt hasn't had a day off since what's the last? Now, you're a father, though. You never have a day off.
That's
but what was
right,
your
Josh.
last day where you didn't work, Josh? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago today, probably, right?
Sunday before Father's Day.
Sunday before Father's Day. So that would have
The
been
8th?
June 8th.
2 weeks in a row today.
That's the last time that Matt McMaster was also off as well.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to that. Shout out to Gary, who was here one day, so that's pretty cool for him. But shout out to you, Matt.
Thank you.
Your first College World Series. Give it a grade.
Hey, I had a great time.
Yeah.
You and I became good friends.
We're pals now.
Josh,
we text each other.
You podcast together.
We podcasted together.
Well, I mean, it's not that we were enemies or anything like that. We just didn't know. We were friendly and acquaintances.
But we barely talked to each other.
Now we're friends.
People kept saying, oh, man, you guys are going to hate each other.
I think they just...
People are idiots.
Holy airball, as the kids would say. That's
Wait, what do kids say?
Holy...
Do you say that? Do you say holy... What on earth?
Yeah.
Holy airball,
right? Look at that. I know the kids.
I'm happy that you know what 12-year-olds say.
Yeah, me too. That's
Holy,
why I'm here. That's why I'm
holy,
hired.
like holy as in like the Lord, or like holy cow,
like that.
Holy airball,
holy cow, Cubs win.
So do you say that about like when somebody's wrong about
like
something?
When they just miss the mark.
Okay,
like, holy effing airball.
I can introduce this into my vocabulary.
Yeah.
John Bishop says something dumb, and I'll be like, holy airball.
What's up, boss?
So
ESPN's NBA analysis,
so what's
NRG Media, handshake memes getting it wrong.
So what's it called when I said that the Super Bowl would go into overtime, and it did?
It's a good take.
Holy
crap, Josh Peterson was actually right for once.
Hey! Right a lot of times. Jeremy says, shout out to you guys. Got to be careful standing up and clapping. That camera height is dangerous.
We already got exposed.
Matt knows about that camera height being not the best.
3 years you've been clapping.
It'll get you.
Look at him. He's doing his Gruden again.
I literally can't do the Gruden anymore because my throat is gone.
What a great time we have had. And watch, after all those thank yous, we'll probably be back here tomorrow.
Thank you, Joey Colbert, for being a great producer.
Wow. You're thanking him again.
Oh, I love Joey Colbert.
I guess we just found out who his number one is.
No, it's Peter.
Sorry. Nice. Who you got today?
Well, I've been telling people that I thought Coastal Carolina was going to win in 2 games.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Mathematically
I said the
impossible.
same thing.
Yeah.
It is impossible.
I think
unless they do it on the aggregate scoring.
I think Coastal Carolina, they'd be wild.
They win today 3-0, and they're like, we won the Natty.
We won the Natty.
See you later.
I'm taking Coastal Carolina, Jacob Morrison today. That's what
I also thought Coastal would win, and I also thought Coastal would win in 2 games. That, again, unless they change the method of
scoring.
Yeah, then they're not going to be able to do that. I do think that they push it to a 3rd game.
Yeah, I think that's more than likely what's going to happen. I think Anthony Ianson could definitely shut the door on Coastal Carolina today. I think Anthony Ianson also could be out in like 2 innings. I don't know how much of an in-between there is. Wind's blowing in. That definitely favors the Chanticleers. So, should be fun. Send up to the booth here in a little bit.
And then you know what happens? Then it's time for football season, Matt. This is it.
We did not talk a lot about college football today.
No!
Kudos to you and I.
Yeah, people say all we do is talk college football, and yet today we talked a lot of topics.
We talked a lot about the NBA.
We talked a
lot about baseball, actually.
Talked a lot about baseball. Do you got any football takes in the last couple of minutes? Anything you want to get off your chest?
No.
No, you have no football takes.
I'll just reiterate it. I think that Nebraska is a year away from being great.
Okay.
But they won't be a year away from being great if they aren't good this year.
I got something.
They have to be good to earn the right to be great.
Wow, look at that. Put that on a poster.
Absolutely.
Prophetic.
I got something for you, Josh.
Okay.
And Matt. I think I'm talking myself into the 49ers maybe winning the NFC.
No.
Whoa.
I might be talking myself into it.
What a bounce back.
They don't have enough. The depth
what are the
gone.
pieces this year?
Losing Charvarius Ward is going to be a massive, massive loss.
Offense last year was still top 10 according to some advanced metrics, even though they were insanely banged up. So that's got to be one part of the equation. I very much respect their coach. Now, I don't think I'm going to pick them to make the Super Bowl, but I just am thinking about it. I'm toying with it is all.
If you are selling Christian McCaffrey stock,
I
will buy.
Yeah.
Will buy.
Really? So then you're in on the Niners.
No, I'm in on Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't like Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I don't like Brock Purdy.
He's solid.
I think Brock Purdy's a game manager, and I think they spent way too much money on him.
Got to do it, though. He's a starter.
And once again, it's just like
got to pay money on starters.
I think that the 49ers are in the process of like, okay, we can either close the Super Bowl window and just rebuild and restart, or we could hemorrhage the future to desperately try to keep it open for maybe one more year.
Could they have one more run in them?
And they've done the latter. So I'm not disagreeing, but I think the
just
Eagles
toying with it.
No, I think the Eagles are better. I think the Rams are better.
Yeah.
I think the Lions are going to take a step back, but I would say that the Lions are better than the 49ers. I think that there's some interest. I think the Packers are going to be interesting this year.
Yeah.
I think the Bears are going to be interesting this year.
The Cowboys, are they going to be interesting?
No, I think the Cowboys are going to be bad. And I've already told you, I think the Washington Commanders are going to win the NFC this year.
Yeah. That'd be a bummer for me because that would mean I have another really good team to deal with for the rest of my life.
I'm saying it right now, and I'm sticking with it. I'm going to stick with it throughout the entirety of the football season. Commanders, Bills, Super Bowl.
All right. That's it for us. That's how we end a show.
Good stuff.
Commanders, Bills, Super Bowl. Oh, handshake meme. That's the end of the show. For everybody who helped us out, thank you so much if this is the end. And if it's not, you know what? John and I will be back here
is the end.
tomorrow. And then Josh is going to hand him the pieces of paper.
Hold your breath and
John will probably do one read, and then he'll have 3 to do. He won't know what he's doing. I got you.
Cubs win. Cubs win.
And that's the last time you're ever going to hear that on the 2025 College World Series broadcast. Thanks, everybody, for joining us throughout the last week and a half. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget, though, to join us tomorrow on 1620 The Zone. Gary and Matt, Connor Happer show in middays. Is he doing the show? If there's a natty tomorrow night? He's doing a show. Nice. And then John and I from right here. Oh, that's right. Happer will be here for the show if we have a game tomorrow. But if LSU wins, the season is over. Enjoy the baseball. Let's go up into the broadcast booth. Kevin Kugler, Scott Graham, and the aforementioned Connor Happer down on the field for this one. Will the Tigers win it all? Will the Chanticleers? Chanticleers.
Say it right.
Chanticleers force one more day of baseball. Thanks so much for joining us. For Jake, for Josh, for Matt, I'm Josh. Have a great night, a great afternoon. Stay cool, stay hydrated, enjoy the baseball. We'll talk to you later.